A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
This is Nightline, your open door to people and places, and this is Walter O'Keefe. Nightline invites you to listen in on NBC's award-winning science fiction series X-1. Now escape to a world of the future.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy's science fiction magazine, presents X-1. Tonight, Tsylana by James E. Gunn. But first, hear this. Now, X-1. Our story, Tsylana by James E. Gunn.
My name is Norman Blake, statistician, first class. At 2:30 p.m. on Monday, October 21st, in the year 2055, I became a deviant. I left my job an hour early. To deviate from the norm was unheard of in a perfectly adjusted society such as ours. Thanks to the great psychologist Kinder, we had a society where everybody's job suited his talents and needs, where children were raised scientifically, and where everyone lived happily on an even keel instead of swinging back and forth from gloom to ecstasy. Then I noticed it, the single flaw in the perfect system.
Come in. Yes, Norm.
Henry, I'd like to talk to you for a moment, privately.
Close the door. It's rather unusual for me to see one of my statisticians privately, but since we're old friends...
Something rather serious has come up.
Oh?
As you know, my duty is to check the computers to make certain there are no deviations.
Yes?
This morning, I ran over the figures for our district. Here is the sheet. The deviation is near the bottom.
1,037 gallons of water purified, 1,037 gallons consumed, 9,328 births, 9,328 deaths. I see nothing wrong so far.
Read the next item.
One candy bar taken from baby. Well?
Don't you see? A baby can't consent. Therefore, it must have been taken without consent. Henry, that is theft. We haven't had a case of theft in this society for almost 29 years.
I see.
It's got me so upset I can't think of anything else.
You're a little edgy, aren't you?
Well, wouldn't you be if you knew there was an antisocial being walking the streets of your own city?
I don't think I'd quite go to pieces like that. Maybe, well, this is just a suggestion. Maybe you ought to see an analyst. Perhaps it would help you deal with this problem.
I've been analyzed.
How long ago?
8 years.
Well, unless you're prepared to handle this problem, I'd advise you to get some help. Meanwhile, take the rest of the afternoon off.
Off? Deviate from the schedule?
As director, and as an old friend of yours, I order it. I consider you to be in extreme upset.
That's your order?
That's my order.
I must confess that as I went toward the elevator, a line kept running through my head. Norm has departed from the norm. I was doing something unorthodox, and what frightened me was that it amused me. Here I was, leaving work 1 hour early. I was so preoccupied that I stepped into the elevator without noticing that someone was already in it. An invasion of privacy almost unforgivable. He was a small, strange-looking man with short silver hair and thick, round glasses. Oops, I beg your pardon. I didn't really know you were...
Perfectly all right, stranger.
I'll just step out and...
Hold it, brother. You've got troubles, I can see.
Well,
My advice to you is see an analyst. Don't wait another 24 hours.
Thank you for the advice.
That's more than advice, brother. It's a commercial. Here's my card. Andrew C. Rednick, public analyst.
Oh, you're an analyst.
Freelance.
I didn't know there were any.
I'm probably one of the few still practicing. My slogan is, don't kid with your id. If life ain't dandy, come see Andy.
I may be up to see you.
You will, I can tell.
I put on my public face, the mask we wear on the street, and rode home in the proper manner, my arms and hands folded. When I got home, my wife, Nada, was in her room. I signaled on the intercom in case she was, entertaining. She wasn't. She never did. Sometimes I wondered if Nada was quite normal and well-adjusted. Hello, darling.
Is something wrong? Why are you home so early?
I just uncovered a crime wave.
A what?
A crime wave. A theft. Candy. From a baby.
Is that serious?
It threatens the entire structure of our society. We have a delicately balanced mechanism here. We're not ready for crime. We don't even know how to catch a criminal.
Isn't there an old saying, it takes a thief to catch a thief?
It takes a... Darling, that's it. That's the answer to our problem.
What is?
In order to protect society, I've got to catch the thief. And the only way to do it, obviously, is to become one myself.
You're listening to Tsylana, tonight's attraction on X-1. Now, back to X-1 and Tsylana.
The address on the card was a deserted skyscraper, a pre-analytic building. The elevators were out of order, and I had to climb 29 flights of stairs. Finally, I was in front of a door that read, Andrew C. Rednick, public analyst. Grin and come in. Mr. Rednick?
It ain't Santa Claus, brother.
Who?
You wouldn't remember. Park your ego. Now, boy, what's your problem?
I've got to do something, and it isn't in my psychological profile.
That's the trouble with this society. Nobody's capable of handy unexpected.
Are you saying there's an advantage to being unadjusted?
Don't second-guess the analyst, boy. If you mean by advantage, will you be happier? No. But if you mean power, then you've got it. In a country of normal people, the neurotic man is king. You want to be king, boy?
Of course not. I'm perfectly happy and well-adjusted, except for one little problem.
Namely?
I've got to catch a thief.
So?
So I've got to know how a thief thinks and feels, what he does, where he goes.
You mean you want to become neurotic?
Exactly.
This is a rather unorthodox request.
I suppose it is.
I could lose my license if anyone found out.
If you don't do it, it could mean the end of society and civilization.
As bad as that, eh? Very well.
Start at once?
Why not? Sit at my desk while I lie down on the couch and tell you about my childhood.
You lie down? I'm the one that's supposed to lie down.
You forget this is reverse analysis. I'm supposed to make you neurotic, frustrated. Now then, the first thing I remember was an argument between my father and mother.
You were living with your own father and mother? Ooh, how unhygienic. What a nasty situation.
You aren't very good at this sort of thing, are you, boy? You're supposed to listen, not comment. Now then, when I was 27, I perfected analysis, and revolutionize society.
What are you talking about? Kinder perfected analysis and revolutionized society. He died.
Don't second-guess the analyst.
You know, I'm beginning to dislike you already.
Fine. We're making progress already. You're beginning to experience dislike. Next, we'll achieve hatred, and then loathing. In 3 weeks, you'll be well on the road to becoming a crook.
Every day for the next week, Rednick lay comfortably on his red leather couch, rambling about his childhood and his problems, while I longed to tell him about my own. I grew more and more repressed, and my disposition became worse and worse. On the 8th day, something happened at the office that made me realize I had to hurry.
Come in.
Henry, it's happened.
What?
The thief has struck again, but this time it's even more serious.
What did he take?
$1 million is missing from the First District Bank.
Great Scott.
We've got to find this thief, Henry. We're doomed if we don't.
Well, maybe he's worked out his repressions. After all, what can a man steal after he's stolen $1 million?
I don't know, but I intend to find out.
Maybe you ought to drop it, Norm.
How can you say a thing like that? It's positively antisocial.
Calm down now. You're all upset again. Why don't you take the day off and go home? Spend some time with that lovely wife of yours. She misses you.
How do you know?
Norm, boy, do I detect a note of jealousy? You'd better watch your step. Jealousy is the forerunner of violence. Are you seeing an analyst, as I suggested?
Yes, I am.
Well, keep at it, boy. You're in bad shape.
I kept at it. By the time the annual status examinations were due, I was a complete wreck. I hated Andrew Rednick with a passion. I was ambitious and jealous. I had even sunk to that basest of all passions. I had fallen in love with my own wife. And still I had not been able to ferret out the thief. He had not struck again.
Ah, you're early, son.
So I'm early.
You'll have to wait. I have another patient.
What?
You'll have to wait. I have another patient in the other room. He'll be leaving in a minute. Just sit down.
Another patient. I could have killed him. Never occurred to me that Andrew C. Rednick would have another patient. After a few moments, a man emerged from the inner office. He was wearing a silver mask or public face, and naturally I couldn't see his features. As I had my own mask on, he didn't see my features either, but I sensed a certain hostility as he brushed by me.
Come in, son.
Who is he?
Take it easy. We don't reveal the names or identities of patients.
I hate him.
You're jealous.
Jealous. As a matter of fact, I've been thinking of quitting the analysis.
Good. This is your last session anyway.
My last session? But it can't be. The annual examinations are coming up tomorrow. I am not ready. I'll be demoted to a menial job.
I doubt it.
I told you I'm not ready. What can I do?
Have you ever thought of cheating?
On the examination? That's horrible. Only a monster could suggest such a thing. What kind of man are you? Who are you, Rednick?
Let me close the door. Now, look through the glass at my sign. You can read it backwards with the door closed.
Andrew Rednick. Rednick backwards. Kinder? You? Oh, it's impossible. He's the founder of our whole society. Besides, he's dead. He died in an accident.
All staged. I just decided to duck out.
Why?
Because, my friend, I found I had created a Frankenstein, a perfect society. It was like paradise, a Garden of Eden. The same silly people, happy, not wanting anything, not going anyplace, and not changing. So I decided to create a little sin, and thereby give the creatures change, growth, misery, ecstasy, and free will. In a sense, I made them creative. Well, son, au revoir.
But am I really finished?
You're just beginning. Your frustrations are like rabbits, boy. They just keep breeding. I'm the one who's finished.
He clapped his hat on his head and walked out, leaving me alone in his office. When I walked over to his desk, I found a gun lying on top of it. I put it in my pocket and returned to my office. The next 5 hours were spent in statistically predicting the questions I would be asked on the annual examination and in finding out the answers in advance. Then I went home.
Darling, how did it go?
Nada, take a good look at your husband. See anything different?
Well, I've been noticing a change for the past few weeks.
You're going to notice a much bigger change, sweetheart. Tomorrow, the new appointments will be made based on the results of the annual examination.
Did you do well?
Did I do well? Read this card.
The enclosed card has a magnetic reproduction of your new psychological profile. It indicates you are in the 99th percentile of leadership with the second highest altruism rating ever scored. Therefore, a new position has been created for you. Beginning tomorrow, you will be deputy mayor of the district. Deputy, darling, it's wonderful.
Yes, I dare say it is. Only one thing troubles me.
What's that?
I can't understand how anybody scored higher than I did. I'd counted on becoming mayor. The following day, I reported to the office of the new mayor of our district, the only person who had scored higher than I on the annual examination. I was ushered in promptly. The new mayor was seated behind a huge desk. He wore his public face mask. Mr. Mayor, I'm Norman Blake, the new deputy.
Yes, we've met, you know.
Oh, I'm afraid
Let me remove my public face. There.
Henry Foreman.
I'm amazed you didn't guess sooner.
How?
Quite simple. You and I, dear fellow, have unstable patterns. With me, the first break came the day I took that bar of candy from the baby as I was passing the nursery. My old act frightened me so that I sought an analyst. The same analyst you sought.
Rednick?
Rednick, Kinder, it's all the same.
And you were the thief and I never...
It takes one to know one, Norm.
You cheated on the exam, too.
Using the computer, just as you did.
Are there any others like us?
I don't know. We'll find out, though. We're ambitious, you and I. That means we'll be moving up, heading for the governorship, perhaps even the presidency. And then we'll collide with the others, if there are any. As Rednick said, in a world of normal people, the neurotic is king.
The only trouble with that is there can only be one king.
That's right. And only one mayor.
The look he gave me then sent chills up and down my spine. In spite of my high position, I haven't had a moment's peace or relaxation since. Neither, I suspect, has Henry Foreman. There were imbalances in our world which had to lead to the destruction of one or all of us, and we knew it. There was one saying that Rednick Kinder had forgotten to tack up on his wall. Uneasy lies the head that wears the crown.
Fred Collins again, and I'll have another word for you about X-1 in a moment. The attention of the nation is focused on Los Angeles and New York, the cities where two long-awaited World Championship boxing matches will take place. The ears of the nation will be tuned to Cavalcade of Sports on NBC Radio, the only network that will bring you both these championship bouts. Friday night, Archie Moore versus Tony Anthony for the light heavyweight crown. Monday night, Sugar Ray Robinson versus Carmen Basilio for the world's middleweight title. And you'll hear them both direct from ringside only on Cavalcade of Sports on NBC Radio. Yes, Friday night, light heavyweight champ Archie Moore pits his skill and experience against the youth and stamina of Tony Anthony. Monday night, Sugar Ray Robinson, one of the greatest boxers in history, defends his middleweight crown against Carmen Basilio. Two great championship fights, Friday night, Moore versus Anthony, Monday night, Robinson versus Basilio. Both brought to you direct from ringside on Cavalcade of Sports, exclusively on these same NBC radio stations. You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features Morning After by Robert Sheckley. What was Pearson doing here? Would he live or die? For the answers to these and other questions, he had to keep tuning in on a hangover. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today. X-1 has brought you Tsylana, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by James E. Gunn and adapted for radio by George Lefferts.
Featured in our cast were Walter Black as Norman Blake, David Ross as Andrew C. Rednig, Adele Ronson as Nada, and Guy Repp as Foreman. This is Fred Collins speaking. X-1 was directed by George Voutsas and is an NBC Radio Network production.
There's excitement in the air at night, and Nightline brings it to you. Hear Nightline with Walter O'Keefe, next on most of these NBC stations.
One and a half miles below the surface of the South Pacific Ocean. 1.5 miles under the water, away from the daylight and the air that's so precious to all of us. That is the position of the stolen Euclidean submarine, in which Mrs. Gregory, Captain Tex Bradford, Jerry Hall, and Joan Gregory are trying to escape from the Magic Island. It would seem that they've done a fair job of escaping, as they're now 500 miles from the strange island. But things are not going along any too well, and Captain Bradford, left in control of the submarine, while Jerry and Joan are resting in the stern section, is admitting to Mrs. Gregory that he doesn't feel very happy about the situation.
I know you have complete confidence in Joan's knowledge of these Euclidean machines, but is it safe to stand still right here?
I think it's a lot safer to stand still than to run a machine I don't know much about, into something I know nothing about.
Well, are we securely anchored?
We are, but it wouldn't matter if we weren't. Have you any idea, Pat, what the pressure is under 9,000 feet of water?
Why, I know it must be enormous.
Yes, you bet it's enormous. And we won't do any drifting, except for some current might move us a little. And Joan reminded us that currents are scarce along here, so we're safe.
9,000 feet below the surface of the sea. And safe?
Joan says so, and she knows.
I wonder.
Wonder?
Yes, wonder if we're not putting too much confidence in all of these Euclidean inventions.
Well, so far they've done everything that was claimed for them. They're perfect as far as I can see.
Is anything made by man ever really perfect?
No, of course not. We've seen enough of these things to know that we're better off with them than we would be without them.
When we're in such a position as this, yes. And what worries me most is that we're always in such a position. That's what makes Euclidia so terrifying and fascinating. It would be almost worth going over to their way of thinking to assure your safety.
Now, Pat, you're incurably romantic. And you're looking at all this as something very wonderful. I warned you when we started on this cruise that there wasn't any such thing as magic. But every time Jerry called that weird colony a magic island, you took it for granted. These scientists aren't magicians, Pat. And they aren't friendly or warm or reasonable. They're hard and bitter and clever and cruel.
How do we know that they are?
What?
How do we know that they're all those things?
They've kept us pretty tightly in prison for some time, haven't they?
Have they ever harmed us, though?
Those ray guns?
Oh, those ray guns have done nothing more to any of us than just to put us to sleep.
Even so, I'd just as soon pick out my own times to take a nap.
Oh, of course, Tex. It's a little surprising to drop off to sleep suddenly when someone else wants you to. But what I'm getting at is something larger than that. The real reason behind all the activities of G47 and his scientists.
That's easy enough. They're building up the greatest collection of mechanical and electrical devices the world has ever known. And when they complete their work, they'll simply take the world over.
But might the world not be better off?
Better off?
Yes. If all the nations were controlled equally, it might be a means to prevent war.
Yes, it might. But I'll bet G47 hasn't any such beautiful ideas.
Well, I believe he has.
You think that bunch of scientists have buried themselves out here in the Pacific Ocean to spend their lives thinking up things beneficial to the world?
Well, why not? Scientists have been giving their lives to help the world since histories have been recording their doing.
Yes, I know, Pat, but...
And we haven't any reason to think otherwise of G47 and his men.
You've certainly suffered a change of heart since our first landing on Euclidia.
I've learned a lot about the Euclideans.
So have I, and I don't care much about them.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tex. I didn't mean to start an argument with you. It's just that... Oh, I can't express exactly how I feel.
Well, don't let it worry you. We've been under such a strain for the last few weeks that everything is out of proportion. You'll be able to organize your ideas when we get home.
When we get home. Home. Only a little matter of 3,500 miles, and we're hurrying home by standing still, firmly anchored under 1.5 miles of water.
Well, Joan said it was best to remain anchored for a while, because she and Jerry had to have some rest. And navigating a submarine at this depth is something about which she knows a whole lot more than I do.
Oh, very well. I suppose there's nothing more to do.
And I'll call the youngsters to take over in a few minutes, and then we'll get out of their way and let them handle it.
K12C to J24Y. Johnson to Gregory Boat.
Tex, it's Johnson.
Johnson
Yes, go ahead.
to Bradford. I've not been able to raise you. Answer if you can hear my signal. J12C to J24Y. J12C at Wilmington to Gregory Boat.
Couldn't we answer him, Tex?
Joan said no.
But the Euclideans have our position anyhow.
We don't know if they have it
J12C
exactly.
to Bradford. Johnson to Gregory Boat. Waiting for instructions from you before proceeding with plan. Can you hear me?
What does that mean, Tex? Waiting for instructions before proceeding with plan?
It sounds as if it meant that he was waiting to hear from me before compounding the formula and organizing our party to return to Euclidean.
Well, he should know better than that. Johnson doesn't need any instructions from you or anyone else to do the things he will have to do.
Exactly. Then his message means something else entirely.
What else could it mean?
That's what I don't know. Unless... Yes, that might be it.
What, Tex?
Those Euclideans. They have agents all over the world. Johnson may have found that they have someone watching him in Los Angeles.
In that case, they might take the formula away from him.
Yes, and in that case, Johnson would be smart enough to keep the formula hidden and do nothing without hearing from us.
But he may be in danger. Those men mean business.
I thought you were ready to believe they had only good intentions.
Why, I think they mean to use their inventions for good, but I'm even more sure that they wouldn't stop at anything to gain your formula. I wish we could warn Johnson of our position.
Well, it can't be done, Pat, so we'll just have to be patient.
Well, if we can receive his radio messages in safety, how could it do any harm to send him one?
They might learn a lot more on the island by intercepting our messages than they would from Johnson's.
I suppose so.
Have you had a message from Johnson?
Tex, it's Joan. They must be awake.
I'll say we're awake. What's going on there?
Well, suppose you and Joan hurry up forward and we'll tell you.
We will join you in the control section at once.
Perhaps Joan will know how to get a message to Johnson.
Perhaps, or she may agree that we'd better take a chance and send it, even if the Euclideans do hear us.
Boy, I sure got a lot more sleep on that steel mattress than I expected to get.
How many times have I told you that everything designed by the Euclideans would perform its appointed tasks perfectly?
And how many times have I told you that I'm not so crazy about everything the Euclideans do?
Now, you two forget your argument for a minute and listen to us.
Certainly, Captain.
Okay, Tex. What do you want?
We've just had a message from Johnson.
Yes, and it might be mighty important that we get an answer to him at once.
Hey, this boat isn't moving, is it?
Obviously not.
Well, Tex thought it better to anchor. We were making only 2 or 3 knots.
You were wise, Captain Bradford. We may ride safely at anchor here for an indefinite period.
Okay, never mind about how safe we are. What about Johnson?
He's apparently in some sort of trouble. Or at least we figured that from the unusual wording of his message.
What did he say?
He said he was making no attempt to complete our plans until he heard from us.
And that is not logical?
Far from it. Johnson knows everything to do exactly as we would do it ourselves. And when he seems uncertain, he's got a good reason for it.
Hey, how about sending him a message, Joan?
That depends entirely on Captain Bradford's view of the matter. If this is serious enough to warrant it, we must send a message.
Well, I think it's serious enough to warrant doing anything we have to do.
Then we will send a message to Johnson.
But Tex, what wavelength did you get his message on?
3 meters. That's the best on our side at home.
J12C to J24Y. If you are getting this, listen carefully, as this may be my last message for some time. Danger threatens original plan.
Danger?
Quiet, Pat.
Radio tampered with. Safety deposit. Formula. Do not come to. Stay away from. John.
Hey, something's wrong.
What happened to the radio?
It was not this radio.
Something happened to Johnson's set. He said danger threatens. Then the set started to cut out. I didn't get the rest of his message.
I thought he started to say stay away from Los Angeles.
Yes, I heard that.
This should be a time for great accuracy. Johnson started to say, do not come to Los Angeles.
Well, that was the idea anyhow. He tried to say something about the formula.
And he mentioned safety deposit. Tex, the formula.
Yes, Pat, it's in a safety deposit box at the bank. But no one will ever get it.
Euclideans will find it comparatively simple to enter any bank in your world and take from it anything they may desire.
Oh, golly. I guess that's right.
Oh, Tex, your formula, they know where it is.
Yeah, I'm afraid they do.
Oh, and they'll get it.
Oh, no, they won't.
They will easily get into your vault at the bank.
Yes, and if they do, they may get their clothes taken off, or worse, for their trouble.
Gee, Tex, how have you got it protected?
Most natural way in the world. I protected the formula with some of the compound.
You've actually placed some of your universal solvent in that vault at the bank?
Right. The bank officials cooperated with me in giving me a small, unused section of an old vault. And the solvent is so located there that any disturbance or opening the vault with anything except the combinations known only to Johnson and myself will bring together the two portions of the formula. The universal solvent will be compounded immediately, and flowing over the written formula will destroy it in a fraction of a second.
You are well protected, Captain, and your foresight is admirable.
Oh, you bet. That was a good idea, too.
Then you're not worried about your formula, Tex?
Not much, but I am worried about what they may have done to Johnson in trying to get the formula from him.
Hey, Tex, let's call him on the radio. You know, even if his set's gone bad, it'll help him just to know we heard him and we're on our way to California.
May we, Joan, dear?
The emergency warrants the risk. I will attempt to raise Johnson. He was on 3 meters.
Correct, Joan?
I'm turning all reserve electrical power in the entire boat into this transmitter. You may now reach Johnson with ease, Captain.
I'll try it. J24Y to J12C. J24Y to J12C. Bradford to Johnson. Gregory boat to Wilmington. Hello, Johnson. We got your last message. Do nothing until...
J24Y. J12C to J24Y.
Oh, that isn't Johnson.
Gregory Land Station
Sounds
calling
funny to
Gregory
me.
boat. You will answer if you are hearing me, Bradford.
Hey,
Answer at once.
sounds like one of those Euclideans.
That is one of the most brilliant and most dangerous of all the Euclidean scientists. Thales, the chief electrical authority in the world today.
I am fully aware that you are
How
listening,
well.
Bradford. You will gain nothing by attempting to conceal your position. Your entire course is watched. I will give you 10 seconds to answer me. 10 seconds for the combination of the vault where your formula is kept. Think rapidly, Captain Bradford. You have only 10 seconds.
Tex, will you answer him?
Don't do it, Tex. He's bluffing.
I think we may safely defy him.
We'll risk it, and we won't answer him.
But he said 10 seconds. What can he do to us?
We'll know in a couple of seconds.
You have had your chance. Now you will never see your homes again. Nor will you return to Euclidia. You will never leave the floor of the ocean where your submarine now lies. You have failed.
We last saw Jerry Hall, Joan Gregory, Captain Bradford, and Mrs. Gregory anchored in 1.5 miles of water where their stolen Euclidean submarine was apparently quite safe from immediate harm or Euclidean pursuit. Once more, however, the Gregory party has occasion to learn that no one is ever completely safe or free from Euclidia, the magic island. After several vain attempts, they received a message from Johnson, who is in Los Angeles. But Johnson's message was anything but cheerful. Something is threatening the captain's precious formula, and Johnson's message is interrupted by a strange voice.
I am fully aware that you are listening, Captain Bradford. You will gain nothing by attempting to conceal your position. Your entire course is watched. I will give you 10 seconds to answer me. 10 seconds for the combination of the vault where your formula is kept. Think rapidly, Captain Bradford. You have only 10 seconds.
Tex, will you answer him?
Don't do it. He's bluffing.
I think we may safely defy him.
We'll risk it, and we won't answer him.
But he said 10 seconds. What can he do to us?
We'll know in a couple of seconds.
You have had your chance. Now you will never see your homes again, nor will you return to Euclidia. You will never leave the floor of the ocean where your submarine now lies. You have failed.
Sub's going to fill up with water.
John will be drowned.
All of you remain in your places. We will suffer no damage.
Isn't there something we could be doing, Joan?
Merely remain in your places. I will do everything necessary.
Well, whatever you're going to do it quick. That water looks mighty wet to me.
We are now quite safe. You may rest assured that nothing further will happen to us.
But, Joan, you said that before, and something has certainly just happened to us.
I'll say something's happened, but what was it?
The submarine was shaken by violent shocks, just as it was when those magnetic bombs were released from that Euclidean plane.
Well, no magnetic bomb ever got down to this depth.
You are correct, Captain Bradford. Though the action on this submarine was much the same, we were located by the radio power beam from the island.
The power beam? Why, Joan, you don't mean that those scientists are able to send a burst of destructive power along a radio beam?
They can do everything else.
Then we invited that when we took a chance on answering Johnson's call on the radio.
Precisely.
But if we were not harmed, what is the effect of that beam?
The effect on us is probably negligible, as I was fortunate enough to be able to surround this boat with protection in time to prevent the beam hurting our outer shell to any extent. Though we will find a number of indentations in the metal.
You mean that radio beam thing hit us hard enough to put dents in the side of the submarine?
Precisely.
But, Joan, that would mean that the force of that radio beam was greater than the pressure of this water at a depth of 9,000 feet.
It was considerably greater.
Well, golly whiskers. What kind of protection could you surround the submarine with that would keep that kind of pressure from smashing us?
The protection is made up of the same elements as the destructive power beam. I merely released several of our magnetic bombs on the course to Euclidia, and the explosion you heard was the meeting of the magnetic bombs and the power beam from Euclidia.
But, Joan, that Euclidean we heard threatening us was in Los Angeles. You say you interrupted that destructive beam coming from Euclidia?
I don't understand that either.
It should be quite obvious.
Well, maybe it should be, but it isn't as far as I'm concerned.
Does it not occur to you that an agent of Euclidia would hardly have the opportunity of setting up apparatus for the transmission of such a beam in the same room in which Johnson was working?
The same room?
Yes, Tex. Joan must be right. We heard Johnson's voice. Then he sounded as if he were in trouble. And then this other voice came over our set. It must have been our set.
Undoubtedly.
But where did that radio beam thing come from?
From Euclidia.
Oh, I'm beginning to see it, Joan. Euclidia was listening in on our two-way radio talk and getting our position logged accurately. Then when that Euclidean in Los Angeles finished his little speech, they turned on the beam from the island.
That would be it, Captain Bradford.
And now every scientist on that magic island knows exactly where we are.
And I suppose they will start moving in on us from all directions.
They will attempt to do that, of course. But we will reach Los Angeles in safety.
But we're losing so much time. And Johnson may be in danger.
No doubt about that, but we couldn't get there in time to help him anyway.
That is true. Mr. Johnson will have to care for his own safety until we arrive. In the meantime, we may make ourselves comfortable.
Comfortable? Swell place for it.
Now, Joan, as you think our best move is to do nothing for a while, perhaps you take this time to give us a little explanation about that Euclidean fellow who managed to get so close to Johnson in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Who is he?
I am sure the voice we heard over Johnson's radio was that of Thales, chief electrical scientist on Euclidia.
Another of those weird names derived from some ancient scientist, I suppose.
To be sure. Thales bears his name in honor of the original Thales, philosopher of ancient Greece. Thales lived 2,600 years ago and was the founder of modern electrical research.
I thought Benjamin Franklin and his kite discovered all that.
No, I'm afraid Thales lived slightly before Franklin.
Yes, quite a while. So the Euclidean chief electrician is in our country.
It would seem so, Captain Bradford. Thales is powerful. Perhaps the most clever man on Euclidia. Many believe him to be superior to G47.
Well, he's sure got these electrical rays of his trained. If they'll run along the ocean floor for 600 miles and bump our submarine around.
You appear to have made something of a study of this man, Thales. The original, I mean. Have the Euclideans any proof as to how far he progressed with his studies 2,600 years ago?
Euclideans have made more extensive research than any other mortal men. Thales was credited with discovering the electron, the Greek word given to common frictional or static electricity, though there is no evidence to show that he even dreamed of the electron as we know it today.
I never even met an electron.
You've met a lot of them, Jerry, but maybe you didn't recognize them.
And I'm as much in the dark as Jerry. John knows so many things of which we are ignorant. I can still remember learning in school that Benjamin Franklin discovered electricity.
Your schools must be sadly lacking.
Oh, I don't know. We get along all right. I think it's a lot better to know that Edison invented electric light than to worry about some Greek who rubbed the cat's back to knock out a few sparks before America was discovered.
Thales did not rub a cat's back to get sparks. The earliest experiments were performed with pieces of amber and cloth.
Okay, but why?
And Thomas Edison did not invent or discover the electric light.
He did, too.
Joan, are you sure of what you're saying?
Naturally.
Well, now, let's not get into an argument over it. For all practical purposes, Edison improved the electric light and made it really practical after the invention of the dynamo about 1870. But there undoubtedly were attempts made before that.
I never heard of them.
In the year 1800, the principle of the electric light was discovered by Sir Humphrey Davy, who made a successful arc light with batteries and charcoal. And that was 47 years before Thomas Edison was born.
Oh, I give up. You know too blame much for me.
No, don't feel badly about it, Jerry. Joan apparently knows more than any of us. But we can do nicely in our world without quite so much knowledge.
You mean we will do nicely in our world when we get back to it. But in the meantime, we're very much in Joan's world. Let's give her a free hand in working this thing out.
Is that sensible? What would you suggest, Joan?
For the moment, nothing.
Huh. I could have thought of that.
Nothing is easily thought of, but many people do not know how to do it well.
You're certainly right there, Joan. And one of the worst faults we have is impatience.
A great deal of patience will be needed before we are safely in California. Now, if you will all remain perfectly still, I will open the beam testing devices in the radio receiver, one by one, and we may check Euclidean waves without danger.
You mean you will be able to tell if they're still sending out radio impulses from the island?
Precisely. And as it makes it very difficult to observe this with our transmission channel closed, you must all maintain absolute silence while I test the various beams.
I'll keep quiet.
We'll not make a sound until you give us permission, Joan. Go to it.
Very well. Silence.
Hey, my ears! Stop that thing! Stop it!
Jerry, what's the matter with you?
Oh, my ears. My head aches. Gosh, that noise.
I didn't hear anything to make your headache, Jerry. Just one of those carrier waves Joan tuned into.
No, it wasn't. Gee, my head still aches. It's that same note. You remember, Joan?
Yes, Jerry, I remember. But you have forgotten.
What did I forget?
To remain silent. Now our position is definitely established on the island.
Oh, Jerry, they heard you over the radio.
Oh, yeah. I guess they did.
How quickly did you shut off the microphone?
Almost instantly. But Jerry's voice undoubtedly was registered at Euclidia. And probably with Thales on the mainland. Now they will know we have not moved since our last message.
Oh, gee. I'm sure sorry. But I couldn't stand that one sound hammering in my ears.
I don't understand about that, Jerry.
I will explain it in a moment. First, I will refuel and get the submarine in motion. Our progress will be slow, but at least we may change our position a fraction of a minute in latitude. Now I will explain why that seemingly innocent sound should disturb Jerry so badly.
Well, why didn't it bother any of the rest of us?
Oh, that's my keystone note.
Your what, Jerry?
Joan can tell you better than I can.
Jerry and I have neglected to explain one Euclidean experiment we witnessed on our way to this submarine.
You two manage to learn something every time you get lost on that island. All Pat and I saw was a bunch of doors that we couldn't manage.
Well, we got mixed up in them, too. It was when we opened one of them that we heard the old deaf guy practicing music.
A deaf man practicing music?
I will explain it. We accidentally opened the door of the musical laboratory where Octavo was conducting his experiment.
Was that his name, Octavo?
For Octavius, who was credited with arranging the musical scale?
Mother, you knew.
Well, we have learned one or two things, Joan, but go ahead.
Jerry and I stood in the doorway, observing the old man as he tapped on vessels containing varying levels of water, sounding a true note with each. At last, he struck the note to which Jerry's consciousness is tuned. And Jerry had a severe headache.
Yeah, just like I had when that note came out of the radio.
That is being done deliberately?
Well, I'd say so. Same principle as a musical note wrecking a bridge, isn't it, Joan?
Precisely. And while Jerry may be uncomfortable from the effects of his note, I think we have nothing to fear unless they discover the keystone note of this submarine.
Joan, they might find a note which would destroy this boat.
More than that, they are sure to find it. Our only hope is to reach Los Angeles before they succeed.
And if we don't make it in time?
Then a single note of music will end this voyage.
Sitting on the porch resting when she first saw him. Not a tall man, a kind of softness about him, and round blue eyes and a round face. A sunburned mustache that drooped and made him look a little sad. He came walking out of the city with the graceful towers rising behind him into a hot blue sky, and for a moment he seemed unreal.
Excuse me.
Yes?
I'm looking for a place to stay. There doesn't seem to be many such places here in the city. I noticed your sign.
Oh, yes, the sign.
Excuse me, is anything wrong?
Oh, no, there's nothing wrong, but...
The sign says rooms. You do rent them.
Oh, yes, that's right. Forgive me, I feel fine. I just wasn't myself for a minute. Of course I have a room. 3, in fact. You can have your choice.
Well, that's fine. Let me introduce myself. My name is Vincent Deem.
Oh, how do you do, Mr. Deem? I'm sorry, Charles. Why don't you come in? I'll show you the rooms.
Thank you very much. I'm very anxious to get in out of the sun.
This room's just like the others, Mr. Deem, except for the video set, and there's a health ray over the bed.
Oh, it's very nice, Mrs. Childs.
And the windows are shielded glass, of course.
How much is this room, Mrs. Childs?
A little more than the others. It's 30 credits a month.
I'll take it. Would you like the money now?
If you don't mind.
Oh, not at all. I'm sure I have some here in my pocket. Oh, I forgot.
What's wrong, Mr. Dean?
Oh, nothing. I'm afraid I have nothing but very large bills, that's all. I'll have one changed later today and pay you this evening if that will be satisfactory.
All right. I imagine you want to unpack.
I might as well. Oh, Mrs. Childs, one more thing. Does the price of 30 credits include meals?
Yes.
Oh, that's fine, thank you. I'm sure I'll enjoy dining with you, and, is it, Mrs. Childs?
Yes, and my husband works at the vitamin plant about a mile from here. He should be home for lunch any minute.
I'll be looking forward to meeting him.
Yes. Well, please excuse me, Mr. Dean.
Why, Mrs. Childs? What's wrong?
Sorry? Got that chow ready?
Oh, David, you're late, dear. I thought you...
Thought what?
David, we have a new boarder.
Oh?
His name is Deem. Vincent Deem. He arrived this morning.
Sorry. Is anything the matter? Has this fellow got you upset?
Oh, David, it's ridiculous, really. He's very polite, but for some reason I can't explain it. He frightens me.
Where is he? I'd like to get a look at him.
He should be here for lunch. I didn't hear him go out.
Well, what's it all about? What upset you?
Well, his clothes, for one thing.
His clothes?
When he came in, he was wearing a black coat with a little black velvet collar, and the sun was so hot. And there were small differences in the things he wears, in the cut of them. Well, they're just not like ours. Only I can't tell you exactly why. It's almost as if he just reached his hand into some ancient refuse bin and just took out the first thing he found.
I wouldn't have believed it.
Oh, what are you talking about?
Well, here we are, only 3 years from the dawning of the great new technological era of the 21st century, and you're seeing ghosts in old clothes.
Oh, I was afraid you'd laugh.
David went back to work, still laughing to himself. There was nothing wrong with the guy. Sari tried to rest and couldn't. The sun, even through the filtered glass, hurt her eyes. Mr. Deem hadn't come back, but she wanted to get out of the house. So she took the moving sidewalk to the market. Perhaps it was the heat or being in the house too long. Anyway, she spent an hour at the market and felt better by the time she got to the robot checker.
Mrs. Childs, there was a friend of yours in here about an hour ago.
A friend? Well, who was it? Ruth Harris?
No, Mr. Vincent Deem. He wished to write a check and cash it, but I had no record of him in my circuits. He gave you as a reference, and so I cashed the check. I hope that was all right with you.
Yes, Robert, of course.
He was very strange. He wished to know what year it was. I told him 1997. And he seemed happy and surprised.
He asked what year?
Very nice to see you again,
The sun was still beating down, but the street felt cold. As Sari walked home, little hands of coolness seemed to run up and down her back. She went into the house and listened. Couldn't hear a thing, but she knew that he was in the house. He was in the house, and he wanted to know what year it was.
Say, Deem, what line of work are you in? Insurance. Good business. In the city? No, in another city. Oh.
Are you planning to be here permanently?
Yes, I believe I am. I had to leave that other city. I had some trouble. It was over a woman, but you don't want to hear about that.
Oh, well, go ahead, Mr. Deem. We don't mind, if it'll make you feel any better.
Well, one does have to talk to someone. A woman worked in my office, you see. A very fine woman. I loved her very much. But she was married and had two very small children. She knew she had a duty to her children and her husband. There was nothing between us, you understand. Absolutely nothing but deep affection. But her husband, when he found out and we had words, I felt it was better to leave the city. It was very unpleasant. So, you came here to make a new start?
Yes.
Well, I can understand that, Mr. Deem. Can't you, Sari?
Yes, David, of course I can.
Mr. Deem left the house early the next morning. He said he was going to visit the various insurance companies and see about getting a job. And Sari, left behind in the house, felt like a spy, because she knew she was going to explore his room. She had to know. One by one, she opened the drawers in the bureau. Shirts, handkerchiefs, socks, 2 suits in the closet and his black overcoat, the suitcase on the floor. Everything seemed to be in order. She tapped the suitcase with her foot, then bent down and opened it. She looked inside.
Operator, Mr. Childs, please hurry. Mr. Childs, he's in the pyrodoxine department.
Sorry, for Pete's sake. You know I'm up to my neck in work this morning. I had to come all the way over from the bats to answer. Sorry. What's wrong with you? Move up closer to the screen.
David, I looked in his suitcase.
David's?
Yes, David. He's got things in it.
Things? Sorry, what exactly are you talking about?
Things in his bag. There's 3 wilted red roses. And a gun. Oh, I've seen pictures of them. I've looked them up in the historical encyclopedia.
Say that again.
A gun. And 3 flowers. Wilted flowers. 3 red roses. At least I think they're roses. Oh, David.
Sorry. Are you sure?
I tell you, I looked it up in the book, David. I looked up the list of all the things destroyed or outlawed during the bombings. I thought I remembered, but I wanted to make sure.
You're right, Sari. I know you're right. There haven't been any guns on the face of the earth since the war. There haven't been any flowers since the war of 1980. Sorry, I don't understand this. But I'll come right home. Stay there, Sari. I'm coming home.
David? David?
Mrs. Childs? Oh, hello, Mrs. Childs. It's a bit cooler out this morning. I thoroughly enjoyed. Mrs. Childs, you're ill. Your face is so white. Mrs. Childs. Sorry, what in the name of heaven? Deem. Is that a gun, Mr. Charles? A weapon that can kill you? Come in, please. Sit down over there.
David, I'm sorry. I tried to warn you.
Never mind, darling. Dean, you killed her. Sit down. That's better. Where do you come from? From the year 1979. But that's impossible.
No, David. You see the gun in his hand? And the flowers upstairs.
She's quite correct, Mr. Charles. But how could it be? If you check the list in the Historical Encyclopedia, the record of things destroyed or outlawed after the War of 1990, you'll find listed a time warp machine designed in the year 1977 by scientists at the Los Oros Physics Institute. I was the horticulturist in charge of the grounds and gardens. I entered the machine 1 year before the war. They just might risk sending a man after me.
But why did you come to this here? Did you know that you were going to end up here?
No, I lied to you when I said I worked in insurance. But I told you the truth about the woman. She worked in the Physics Institute also, in one of the labs. I hated the man she'd married. I wanted to marry her desperately, but she said she had to stay with him. Then she said she was sorry for me. And so one night, when moonlight came down, walked unloved and went to the laboratories, down on the rose gardens that were tended so carefully in the middle of that rocky desert, to give the people working there just a touch of beauty. In the middle of that night, when her husband was working late and she and the little girl stopped by in their automobile to pick him up, I was waiting in the shadow of the building with a gun I had stolen. This gun. I remember seeing their faces, the three of them, white in the moonlight. I raised the gun. The moon struck the barrel like white fire. And I shot. And I shot again. And again. And again. And killed one.
Presenting the transcription feature, Superman. Up in the sky! Look!
It's a bird!
It's a plane! It's Superman!
And now, Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, star reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle against crime and injustice. A heavy fog shrouds the Clara M., last of the old clipper ships, as she slips silently southward toward Panama with Clark Kent and young Jimmy Olsen aboard. Mystery, too, surrounds the Clara M., for a strange thing has happened. In our last episode, we heard how Jimmy Olsen discovered the Whistler to be Pug Flanagan, a stowaway. Pug, a boy of Jimmy's own age, had hidden himself in a secret compartment adjoining Jimmy's cabin. He explained that having overheard the legend of the phantom Whistler who haunted the ship, he had impersonated the Whistler in order to steal food from the galley. But no sooner had the confession left his lips than a weird scene took place in the forecastle of the creaking ship. The oil lamps swinging from the ceiling threw a yellow glow over the seamed and wrinkled faces of the crew as all eyes were fixed intently on Pug.
I tell you, I'm not the real Whistler at all.
What do you mean you're not the real Whistler?
Well, I was just... That's what I mean. Holy mackerel. There's another Whistler. No, Jimmy. That's the Whistler.
Now, wait a minute. Something's wrong here. Ain't this kid just after saying he was the one what done the whistling?
I said I was just making believe I was the Whistler. The first night out I heard him, and I've been imitating him ever since.
And the whistling we've heard was sometimes you and sometimes the real whistler. Is that it?
You got it.
That's being the case. It's like I say. This here ship is haunted. Haunted by the whistling sailormen what was lost overboard years ago.
Hey, lay that bill, Limey. I'd not have you stirring up the crew like you did before. Not while Chief Barnaby's master of the ship.
Well, it's true, ain't it? There ain't nobody on deck right this there minute but the helmsman. And you ain't telling me he was the one what just whistled you, ain't?
Another word out of you, Limey. And by the great horn's bone, I...
Wait. Listen. Now, wait a minute. There's only one thing to do. Come on, let's get up on deck.
Hey, up to it, lads. On deck, every man jack of you. What's wrong? Why do you stare at me like that?
We ain't going on deck, Barnaby.
Captain Barnaby, you squidget-headed porpoise.
All right. We ain't going on deck, Captain Barnaby.
Oh, you're not. Scared, are you? Well, by the seven seas, you'll do as I say, or... Oh, what's that?
It's the helmsman.
What in the name of... What's the meaning of this, sailor? Who told you to leave the wheel?
I'm not staying up there, see? I had enough. I heard that thing again. Coming at me through the fog.
Bless my eyes. Scotty.
Aye, sir?
To the wheel. And quick, man.
Aye, sir. That's the way of it. A ghostly whistle. Floating out of the fog. I can feel the chills creeping up me.
Hey, lady, talk. Now, you men, listen to me. Listen to me, I said. I've sailed the sea for many a year. I've been master of my own ship. And master's mate of many another. But wherever I've been obeyed. Now, hear me. You're going up on deck, every man jack of you. And him that's thinking he won't follow that order, let him step forward now.
Jeepers, Mr. Kent, look. They're all stepping forward.
Yes, Jim. Looks as if we may have to do something about this.
Oh, you're all in this together, are you? You're all disobeying me. Well, then, there's only one thing to do.
Look, Mr. Kent. He's taking off his jacket and rolling up his sleeves.
All right now, my hearties. Chief Barnaby's ready. For the last time, I'm telling you to get on deck. Move! And move smart. Or I'll break each one of you in two.
Oh, you will you? Now, come on, lads. We'll show him. Jump him, I say, then jump him! Wait a minute, you men! Wait a minute! There's no need for them to go on deck, Barnaby.
What's that, Mr. Kent?
You can't blame them for being afraid. Instead of having a fight here, which wouldn't get us anywhere, I suggest that those of us who aren't afraid go on deck and try to find the meaning of that whistling.
Now you're talking. I've always wanted to find out where that whistling come from myself.
Stow your talk, me bucko. And bear in mind you're a stowaway. I've given an order here, Mr. Kent, and
You'd better withdraw it, Barnaby. The only way to get these men over their fear is to find out what's the cause of that whistling. Now, those of us with any sense know it isn't the spirit. Oh, what's that, eh? Then who's doing that there whistling? Well, I don't know, but we're going to find out. All right, now. Who's coming on deck with me?
Hey, you can count on me, Mr. Kent.
Me too. Lead the way, buddy. I've been cooped up in that there secret closet so long. I'm just aching to stretch me muscles on some palooka what thinks he's a ghost. There's the whistler again. All right. Let's get up on deck quickly. Come on.
Now, let's see.
Well, one good thing. The fog's clearing. There's a bit of a breeze coming up.
Yes, you're right.
I don't hear the whistler anymore.
Barnaby, I think this is what we'd better do. You and our young stowaway friend Pug here go aft. And Jimmy and I'll go forward. And that way we'll cover the entire deck.
Good idea.
Boy, I'm just taking to get me hands in this thing or whatever it is that's doing all the whistling. I imitated it all right. But I'm telling you, there was times when I could feel me hair standing on end.
Pipe down. I ain't forgetting your stowaway, me fine fella. Now we'll be taking care of you.
All right, Jim. You and I'll go forward.
Okay. Gosh, I sure wish we were back on land, Mr. Kent.
What do you mean, Jim?
I don't know. This cruise, it isn't anything like I thought it was going to be. We've had nothing but trouble since we started. There are things going on that I...
Yes? Things going on that what?
Nothing. I didn't exactly mean that.
And what did you mean exactly?
Nothing, Mr. Kent, honest.
Now, look, before we get anything else settled, Jim, suppose we settle this.
Settle what?
You've had something on your mind for several days now. Something that's been bothering you. Why you haven't told me about it, why you've kept it to yourself, I don't know. But I do think it's about time you opened up.
I can't, Mr. Kent.
I don't like to do this, Jim, but for your own good, I've got to insist that you tell me. And you needn't be afraid of Barnaby.
Barnaby? How did you know he had anything to do with it?
I've got eyes, Jim. Do you think I've seen the way he looks at you? Or do you think I've realized that he's been trying to keep you from telling me something?
Gosh, Mr. Kent...
Take that knife episode the other day, when Barnaby said he was going to show you a trick. He made you hold a matchbox in the air and then pin that matchbox to the deck house by throwing a knife at it.
Yeah, that was pretty good, huh?
That was done to scare you, Jim, and don't think it fooled me for a second. The reason you haven't told me what's on your mind is that you're afraid of Barnaby. Well, you don't have to be afraid anymore. What is it?
I haven't been afraid for myself, Mr. Kent. I was afraid for you. Thought if I told you, you'd start something with Barnaby, and... Oh, he's a pretty tough customer.
I've met tough customers before, Jimmy. But anyway, didn't you tell me yesterday that in a lot of ways I was like Superman?
Yes, but Barnaby is dangerous. He wouldn't stop at anything.
Now, don't you worry about that, Jim. Now, tell me, what's on your mind? What have you been holding back?
Okay, I'll tell you. The other night I was going down into the forecastle to see Scotty. When I got to the door, I heard voices inside. Barnaby was talking to the men.
Go on.
He was telling them they were fools to mutiny when they did. He said the time wasn't right.
That's very interesting. What else did he say?
Well, he said he... Gosh, Mr. Kent, you won't start anything with Barnaby, will you?
You know me better than that, Jim. Go on.
Well, he said he had paid the men out of his own pocket to sign on board this ship, and he expected them to do as he told them.
So that's why this crew signed on with Barnaby after dozens of other sailors had refused to sail on the Clara M.
That's right. Because Barnaby was paying him out of his own pocket.
Uh-huh.
Well, then he went on to say that he'd let him know when the right time came to take the ship. He said he hadn't found what he was looking for yet. When he did find it, then they'd take the ship.
I knew Barnaby had a reason for signing on.
What's he after? Do you know, Mr. Kent?
No, Jim. I've got a feeling we'll find out before long. If things turn out as
Wait. The Whistler again. Mr. Kent, he's up ahead there in the bow.
Yes. Come on and walk quietly. This time we're not going to be fooled.
Don't move so fast. Smoke and fog. It's hard to see.
Here, take my hand, Jim. That's it.
We're just past the deck house. Whoever or whatever the Whistler is, he's up there in the bow of the ship, all right.
Yes.
I wonder what... Oh,
Jim, where are you?
All right. I tripped over a coil of rope.
Oh.
Listen.
We're close to him now. Jim, this time he can't get away unless he jumps overboard. The ship's too narrow at this point for anything to get past us.
Gosh, my heart's pounding like a trip hammer.
Maybe you'd better stay here, Jim, while I move up on him.
No, I'd rather go with you.
Well, okay. When the battle starts, let me handle it. All set?
I guess so.
All right, then. Quiet. Now.
Slowly, silently, Clark Kent and Jimmy Olsen move up on the Whistler through the gray fog. What will happen in the next few minutes? Don't miss the next thrilling episode of our story with Superman.
Tune in the next thrilling installment of the transcription feature, Superman.
Up in the sky! Look!
It's a bird!
It's a plane! It's Superman!
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine. Presenting the transcription feature, Superman!
Up in the sky! Look!
It's a bird!
It's a plane! It's Superman!
And now, Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, star reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle against crime and injustice. Shrouded in fog, the Clara M., last of the old clipper ships, moves slowly southward toward Panama with Clark Kent and young Jimmy Olsen aboard. For some time now, ever since the Clara M. left port, the crew have been terrified by the Whistler, said to be the spirit of a whistling seaman lost overboard many years ago. In our last episode, we heard how Pug Flanagan, a stowaway of about Jimmy's age, confessed that he had impersonated the Whistler, but maintained that he was not the real Whistler. Just then, the strange, eerie whistle was heard through the fog, and as our friends realized that Pug was telling the truth. On deck, Kent and Jimmy traced the strange whistle to the bow of the ship, and suddenly... Wait! Listen!
This time, Jim, the Whistler can't get away from us unless he jumps overboard. The ship's too narrow at this point for anything to get past us.
Gosh, my heart's pounding like a trip hammer.
When the battle starts, let me handle it. Are you all set?
I guess so.
All right, then. Quiet. Now.
Gosh, Mr. Kent. He can't be more than 5 or 6 feet ahead of us.
Yes. Fog seems to have thickened again. Hard to see through it. But come on. Easy now, Jim. If anything's going to happen, it'll happen in the next few seconds.
Don't worry about me. Gosh, that whistle is...
Well, I'll be...
What is it?
Jim, we can't go another step. We're right up in the very tip of the bow. I can almost reach out and touch the figurehead.
There's nothing here.
That's right. Not a sign of anyone.
I don't suppose... Oh, gosh, Mr. Kent.
Now, take it easy, Jim. Take it easy. That business about it being a spirit is seafaring nonsense. There's some explanation for this strange thing, and we've got to find out what it is.
Maybe it isn't a spirit. But with this fog swirling around us and the Whistler disappearing right in front of us...
Well, we didn't actually see him, Jim.
No, but we heard him. There it is again. Right on top of us, Mr. Kent.
Easy does it. Jim, that whistle came from right in front of me.
There's nothing there. Nothing but the figurehead. That wooden carving of a woman with her hair flying in the wind.
Exactly, Jim. Wait a minute.
What's the matter, Mr. Kent?
I'm not sure, but... Jim, you stay here while I work my way out onto that figurehead.
Gosh, be careful, Mr. Kent. If you ever fell overboard...
Don't worry. I won't.
There it is again.
Yes, and this time I'm closer to it. Yes, sir, we're on the right track now, Jim.
Mr. Kent, have you found anything? Mr. Kent! Mr. Kent!
Gosh. All right, Jim.
Oh.
I didn't want to answer you before I heard the whistle again. I was right. The mystery's solved.
Oh, good night. What is it?
Wait till I get back on deck. There we are.
Oh, what was it, Mr. Kent? What did you find?
Jim, you'll never believe it. But there's a set of wooden pipes, like the pipes on an organ, set into that figurehead.
Wooden pipes?
Exactly. Very cleverly set into the figurehead, so that when the wind blows in a certain direction, it plays that little tune on the pipes.
Well, I'll be...
There, listen.
Gosh. You know, it sounds kind of pleasant, now that I know what it is.
Of course it does. Whoever had those pipes built into the ship or why, I'm afraid we'll never know. There's no question about it. That's how the legend of the Whistler started.
Oh, you could knock me over with a feather. All the time we thought it was a spirit.
Yes. And our stowaway friend Pug Flanagan made very good use of it, too. Hey, which reminds me, we better look for Barnaby and Pug and tell them what we've discovered.
Yeah. They ought to be coming up on the other side of the deck by this time. Boy, will they be surprised.
Yeah. Not to mention the crew. They'll certainly be glad to know the truth about the Whistler. Yeah, but still, that doesn't solve our other problem, does it, Jim?
Oh, you mean about Barnaby planning to take the ship by force?
Yes. Say, when we come up with Barnaby and Pug, don't let on that you've told me anything. We know he's looking for something aboard the Clara M, Jim, but we can't show our hand until we discover exactly what it is he wants.
Oh, whatever it is, it sure must be valuable. Don't forget, he bribed the crew with money out of his own pocket to sign on board the Clara M. It must have cost plenty.
Yeah, you're right. Yes, whatever Barnaby's after must have great value. It's all the more reason for us to keep quiet until we find out what it is.
I guess you're right. All I can say is... Wait. What's that?
Sounds like Barnaby up ahead.
Yeah, he must be talking to Pug. Boy, wait till they hear...
Wait a minute, Jim.
Huh?
Listen. What's that Barnaby saying?
What?
Shh, quiet, listen.
Wanted to know me, lad, oh, by heaven, I'll lash you within an inch of your life.
I tell you, I don't know nothing, see nothing. Now let me go.
You stowed away in that secret compartment for a week, didn't you?
Yeah, sure. Gee, Mr. Kent, what?
Quiet, Jim. Let's hear this.
You mean to say there wasn't nothing in that secret compartment? Nothing at all?
That's what I said, pal. And if you don't like it, you can lump it.
Yeah.
Hey, you're breaking my arm.
Well, that's just the beginning. You see this?
Oh. A knife, huh? Okay, what do you want? Mr. Kent, don't you think we'd better...
Don't worry, Jim. He wouldn't dare hurt him.
Well, either you tell me what was in that secret compartment next to Jimmy Olsen's cabin, or you start saying your prayers if you know any.
I'm telling you, there wasn't nothing in that closet. Nothing except... Well, yeah, there was something.
I thought you'd be singing a different tune before long. What was that?
Just an old piece of oiled silk. I used it to wrap up any food I wanted to save. And that's all, to help me. There wasn't nothing else in the closet.
That's all you say?
Yeah.
That's enough. Where's that piece of oiled silk now?
I don't know. Hey, wait a minute. I remember now. That reporter guy, Clark Kent's got it.
Kent's got it, eh?
Yeah.
Well, we'll just have to...
Have you got it, Mr. Kent?
Why, yes, Jim. It's right here in my coat pocket.
The way Barnaby's talking, it sounds pretty important.
Yeah, it sounds very important, Jim. Come on.
Well, aren't we going to talk to Barnaby and tell him about the Whistler?
No, that can wait. Right now, we're going down to the privacy of my cabin.
But what for? Why do you...
To find out, Jim, just how important this piece of oiled silk really is. Come on.
I'll light the oil lamp, Mr. Kent.
All right, Jim.
There we are.
Good. All right, now, suppose you pull a chair up to the table here. All right, all set? Now then, we'll just open this oiled silk.
Gee. Well, for a piece of roast chicken. Pug must have been saving it.
Yeah. I'm not interested in what's inside the silk, Jim, but what's on it?
Oh, what could be on it?
I don't know. That's what I want to find out. It's pretty dirty. Must have been on the floor of that secret compartment for years. Hey, Jim.
Yeah?
Take that towel and dip it in that basin of water and bring it here to the table, will you? Better bring basin and all.
Gonna try and wash the dirt off?
Yep. We'll have to be careful, too. You don't want to wash off whatever else may be on the silk.
What do you think could be on it?
Well, that's hard to say, Jim. But whatever it is, Barnaby's anxious to get his hands on it.
Here's the wet cloth.
Oh, good. Now, let's just see if we can get this dirt off.
Oiled silk is pretty much all dried out. Like a piece of old parchment.
Yes, and the dust has worked itself into the fibers. If we're careful enough, we may be able to make something out of this. Oh,
gosh.
Oh, I rubbed too hard. The silk tore.
Gee, be careful. Do you think there's really anything written on that silk? gosh.
Here, dip this cloth in the water again, will you?
Don't you see anything yet?
No, not yet, no. The dirt's coming off easier than I thought.
Here's the cloth.
Thanks. Now then. And here. Here.
Anything yet?
There's something here.
Can you tell what it is?
No, not yet, Jim. Don't get excited.
But gosh, it might be anything. It might be a treasure map or something written by some old pirate.
Wait. I'm getting it now.
Oh, gosh, let me look. Let me look.
There. You just wipe this part off here and...
Oh, what is it?
Well, I'll be...
What is it, Mr. Kent?
Jim, it's the most amazing... Well, here. Have a look for yourself.
What is on the piece of oiled silk that makes it so valuable to Teak Barnaby and so amazing to Clark Kent? Is it a treasure map, as Jimmy suspects? Be sure to hear the next thrilling episode of our story with Superman.
Tune in the next thrilling installment of the transcription feature, Superman. Up in the sky, look!
It's a bird!
It's a plane! It's Superman! Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine.
Kellogg's Pep, the build-up wheat cereal, invites you to rocket into the future with... Stand by to raise ship. Blast off -5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. As rolling rockets blast off the distant planets and far-flung stars, we take you to the stage of the conquest of space with...
Resume scanner watch for Captain Parker and the missing rocket scout. Attention, crew. Attention, crew.
Manned by Captain Strong and his crew of space cadets, the rocket cruiser Polaris blasts through the blackness of the void, combing millions of miles of empty space for the missing rocket scout 4J9, unreported for almost 3 days. On the control deck, Tom Corbett and his skipper guide their powerful ship on an erratic search orbit, tracking down every target on the radar scanners, checking every wandering meteor. But as the hours pass, the search seems to grow more and more hopeless, and the reports from Roger Manning on the radar bridge topside become more and more discouraging. Control deck guy. Go ahead, Roger.
Nothing in this area, Tom. Not even space does.
Did we cover this whole sector?
Backwards and forwards and inside out.
All right. Stand by for orders. Captain Strong.
I heard him, Tom. Let me speak to him.
Right, sir. Here's the skipper, Roger.
Hello, Manning. Yes, sir. Where are we now? Approaching the orbit of Jupiter, 3 degrees above the plane of the ecliptic. All right. Rack up a new heading toward Ganymede and get it down to me. Yes, sir. 2 shakes of a spaceworks island. Prepare for a job. Tom, call Astro and tell him to cut speed to 1/4.
Aye, sir. Control deck to power deck. Check in.
Already got it.
User off, Astro. 1/4 space speed.
You heard anything?
No, Astro. Preparing to change course.
Oh, okay. 1/4 it is. 1/4 as ordered, Tom.
Right.
Listen, Tom.
What?
How long are we going to look for this needle? Space is an awful big haystack.
I know, but I guess we'll search until we're sure of one thing.
What's that?
That Captain Parker is either alive or dead.
Well, Tom, Commander Arkwright feels that further search is useless. He's ordering us back to Earth.
Oh, no, sir, not yet.
Orders are orders, Tom. Notify Manning to plot a new course back to Earth.
Yes, sir.
Radar bridge control deck.
Control deck guy, what is it, Raj? I was just going to call you.
Listen, Tom, I don't know whether I'm seeing spots in front of my eyes or not, but I'm getting a blip on my scanner.
Well, you
We've had them before. Probably a meteorite. Just a space hobo.
Manning, feed it down here on the control deck screen. Let me have a look at it.
Aye, sir. Here it is.
Tom, that's no meteor. That space hobo is a jet boat.
A jet boat? It must belong to the rocket scout.
Right. And Captain Parker must be on it. Break out the spacesuits, Tom. You and I are blasting over there in our own boat to take a look. Steady, Tom. We're coming alongside. Give me braking rockets full.
Braking rockets full.
2 degrees starboard.
Aye, sir.
Steady now. Coming up on her. Kinetic couplers. Nice work, Tom. Our airlocks are in conjunction. Cut all jet power.
All ready to go aboard, sir.
Right. I'll open the airlocks.
I'll open the other portal, sir.
Right.
Okay, sir. We can climb in.
Come on. Be careful, Tom.
Okay, we're over now.
Parker! Parker!
See him anywhere, sir?
No. Parker! Parker, where are you?
Pilot's compartment is empty, sir.
So is the rest of the cabin, Tom. The boat is empty.
Empty? Then what happened to Captain Parker?
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment, so stand by.
Hear that? Do you know what that sound is? It's a pioneer of the skies, striking out for new worlds to conquer. You're listening to the blazing roar of a jet plane.
You fellas and girls, when you grow up, there will be new frontiers to conquer, new challenges, new discoveries in the air age of tomorrow.
When the time comes, will you have what it takes to be a jet pilot? Well, the smart thing to do is to start your training now. Learn all the different kinds of jets. And what's more important, keep yourself in top-notch trim.
That's where Kellogg's Pep can help you. Kellogg's Pep is more than just a swell-tasting cereal. Kellogg's Pep supplies you with important food values. Food values you need to keep yourself in top-notch shape.
And that's why it's so smart to make sure you eat Kellogg's Pep every single morning. Because Kellogg's Pep gives you more of those builder-upper food values than any other wheat flake cereal.
And Pep gives you real flavor, too. A flavor that keeps you coming back for more.
Ask Mom to start serving Kellogg's Pep first thing tomorrow. Help yourself to get set for your future by helping yourself to the better-than-ever build-up wheat cereal, Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P. Pep. And stay tuned for the big news about the swell prize you get in every package of Kellogg's Pep.
Searching through the endless darkness of space for Captain Parker and the missing rocket scout 4J9, Captain Strong and the Space Cadets have finally found his emergency jet boat, drifting aimlessly near the orbit of Jupiter. But when Tom and Captain Strong board the boat, they find it empty.
What do you suppose could have happened to him, Captain Strong? Think he abandoned ship?
No, not at all. As a matter of fact, I don't think Parker ever blasted off in this boat.
What?
The food lockers are still full of emergency rations. Well, there's water in the tanks. The oxygen supply is full.
Then maybe the boat was launched by accident.
No, hardly. The controls are set for automatic flight in what looks to me like a wide orbit around Jupiter.
Then Parker simply jettisoned the boat?
Yes, but for a reason, of course. He was leaving it as a sort of marker or signpost.
Hey, not bad. But then he should have left some kind of a message.
Well, he did. Right here on the control panel, in the logbook.
What's he say?
Rocket Scout 4J9 hit by meteor, losing reaction mass, communications out, only enough fuel left to reach Jupiter.
Jupiter? Oh, no, he didn't.
Only chance will be he crash landing on surface of Jupiter, leaving jet boat and message, praying you will find me, signed Mitch Parker, Captain, Rocket Scout 4J9.
What a choice he had. To die in space or land on Jupiter, the worst planet in the whole solar system.
And this message is dated 4 days ago, Tom.
4 days? He can never survive on Jupiter that long.
No, if he even reached it. Well, come on. Let's get back to the Polaris. We've got some heavy blasting to do.
Hey, Roger. Yeah, what do you want, Astro? Any word from the skipper and Tom? They've been on that jet boat for 15 minutes now. I'll say there's word. The skipper just called me. They're on the way back, and he's ordered me to rack up a new heading. Straight for Jupiter. Jupiter? Oh, no. After all the times they've told us to avoid that planet like a plague.
Manning, have you got that heading?
Oh, yes, Captain Strong, but,
But what, Manning?
Well, you're not serious, are you, sir? We're really going to land on Jupiter?
Now, look, Captain Parker had to sit down on Jupiter. I'm sure he would have preferred a nice, warm, civilized place like Earth or Venus or Mars, but he had no choice. And if by some remote miracle he's been able to survive the storms, cold, and the miserable freezing nights, we're going to find him. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. Sure is, sir.
Then man your stations. We blast in 1 minute.
Control that guy.
Tom, I'm getting a signal from the surface of Jupiter.
What?
I can hardly make it out through all the static, but I'm sure it's a radio signal.
Manning, this is Captain Strong. Feed it down here, quick.
Here it is, sir.
Can you make anything out of it, sir?
Oh, it's a lot of hash, but it's a radio signal, all right.
I think someone down there is trying to get through, sir. But I can't make it out. It's so garbled.
Well, we'll cut closer to the surface. Maybe the signal will come in stronger, and we can find out where it's coming from. Hello, power deck. Give me full space speed. We're going in. This is the strongest the signal has been. Parker must be on Jupiter somewhere. Tom, tell Astro and Manning to stand by their intercoms. I want to talk to all of you.
Aye, sir. Attention, crew. Stand by. Skipper wants to talk to us.
Astro standing by. What's up, Junior?
Stop wasting time, Rod. You'll find out soon enough.
My, making noises like a real headshot here.
All right, fellas, pay attention. Now, this is a decision for all of us to make. There is reason to believe that Captain Parker is alive on Jupiter. The strength of the signal indicates he's somewhere in the area directly below us.
Well, what are we waiting for, sir? Let's get him.
Now, let me tell you a few things about Jupiter first, Manning. Even though it's a giant planet, it whirls on its axis like a top. Now, this action creates storms that make our hurricanes on Earth seem like spring breezes.
After listening to Manning, sir, big winds never bother us anymore. Very funny.
Now, pay attention. This is nothing to joke about. The days are only 6 hours long, and it's plenty cold. But when night falls, it becomes so cold that no living thing can exist on its surface for more than 20 minutes.
Nice friendly planet.
No, I'm not through yet. Gravity on Jupiter is 2.5 times that of Earth. So every step you'll take, you'll feel as if you're dragging a ton of plutonium. And finally, the atmosphere is full of noxious gases, methane and ammonia. Now, what do you say?
Only one thing I can think of, sir. When do we land?
Do you all feel that way?
I always wanted to pick up some weight. I'll gain 300 pounds in no time.
How about you, Manning?
You need help in keeping these jokers out of trouble, sir. Count me in.
Thanks, boys. Then stand by for landing.
Ready or not, Jupiter, here we come. Well, we're down, sir.
Oh, that was a rough one.
You mean we made it? We're still in one piece?
Yeah, Roger. Spaceman's luck was riding with us. I don't know how you did it, Captain Strong. I've been holding my breath for the last 30 seconds. I told you guys I'd bring you down okay. Uh-huh. Thanks, Manning.
All right, now, let's get to work. Tom, see if you can raise Parker's ship.
Aye, sir. Rocket Cruiser Polaris to Rocket Scout 4J9. Rocket Cruiser Polaris to Rocket Scout 4J9. Come in. Come in, Captain Parker. Nothing at all, sir. Just a lot of electronic interference.
I was afraid of that. Corbett and Manning, break out your thermal suits and storm gear. We'll have a look around outside. I'll meet you at the airlock.
Aye, aye, sir.
And don't forget your respirators. You won't last 30 seconds in that methane and ammonia atmosphere.
Captain Strong, what about me?
Somebody has to stay aboard the ship, Astro, and you're it.
How do you rate all these soft jobs, Astro? doping off in here while we freeze out there on this overgrown iceberg.
Turn off the space gas. If he told you to stay in here, you'd have griped your head off.
Blow your jets. The skipper's taking me along because he wants to be sure of finding Captain Parker, that's all.
Manning, your hot air should raise the temperature of Jupiter enough to make it a tropical paradise. Go on now. Blast off.
Captain, I'm beat. Can't we rest a while? My legs feel like dead weights. I can hardly drag them.
Yeah. I'm in the same orbit, sir.
All right. We'll stop for a minute. I'm tired myself. That's no wonder. We each weigh about 450 pounds.
450 pounds? I ought to start reducing.
The only thing you ought to reduce is the size of your head.
One more crack like that and I'll reduce the number of your teeth.
Are you fellas at it again?
I guess we're a little tired, sir. Sorry.
Well, just rest here while I look around.
What does he think he's going to see through that electronic viewer? All we're looking for is a bunch of static. This entire mission's been a wild goose chase from the start.
Hold it, Roger. The skipper's waving at us and pointing at something. Give me that viewer.
Here.
Yeah. I see it. It's a spaceship. Of all the blind luck, we found it.
I don't believe it. Let me look. Jumping Jupiter. What do you know? I brought the Polaris right to it.
Come on, boys. Come on, boys. We have only 2 hours of daylight left. And that ship is over a mile away.
A mile? I can cover that in no seconds flat.
Yeah, on Earth you can, but not on Jupiter.
Let's go. Here we are, boys. We made it.
I don't see how.
Me either.
Now, give me a hand here. I've got to open the airlock.
Come on, Rog. Crack away. Some of this ice.
Yeah.
A little more on this side, boys, and the airlock will be free.
I've got it.
All right. Now, let's hope it'll open.
There it goes.
There, this side, quick. And don't fall, or we'll need a derrick to pick you up.
Step it up, will you, Junior? Let's get out of this cold.
Outer portal's out, sir.
Now, close it. I'll equalize the pressure.
Pressure system sounds like it's in good shape, so the hull isn't spun.
Oh, thank goodness for that.
Pressure equalized.
All right, boys. You can remove your masks now, and let's go.
These scouts aren't very big. We won't have far to look.
All right, this way. Pilot's compartment is up forward.
Look at all those sacks of mail. An awful lot of people aren't going to get letters.
No, we'd never be able to transfer all this stuff ourselves.
Give me your space light, quick.
Oh, here you are, sir.
Hey, look! On the floor of the flight compartment.
Why, it's Parker.
He's not moving.
Great Ganymede, is he?
Oh, he's still alive, Manning, but he's in a bad way. We've got to get him back to the Polaris.
No, we can't carry him, not under this gravity.
We've got to, somehow. On the ball, fellas.
Hey, can't we stop a minute? This is murder.
No, Manning. Keep moving. Every minute out here lessens Parker's chances.
It's getting dark. Awfully fast, Captain Strong.
But that's another reason to move. No one can survive out here at night. Now get rolling.
Hey, what's that?
Captain Strong. Look! Up there on top of those mountains.
I must be seeing things. The mountains are blowing their tops.
There's the hydrogen in the methane atmosphere, uniting with the sodium in the mountainside.
The ground, it's moving!
An earthquake! Get down flat, quick!
No, don't! You'll never get up again! Come on, both of you, get in a huddle! We'll lean on each other and brace ourselves! It's our only chance!
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment. So stand by. Hold everything. Listen to the big news about the magic moving picture eye, brought to you by Kellogg's Pep.
Fellas and girls, just ask Mom to buy Kellogg's Pep, and then you'll get the swellest prize you ever saw, a magic moving picture eye.
Here's how the magic eye works. It's a gleaming plastic disc with a picture in the middle. When you hold the magic eye in your hand and tip it back and forth, the picture starts to move. Really move.
Say, you'll have everybody guessing about your magic power.
You'll see speeding trains, movie stars and sport champions like Bob Hope of Paramount Pictures and tennis star Bobby Riggs. And pictures of your TV favorites like Tom Corbett.
16 different pictures altogether. And best of all, listen to this. To get your magic eye, you don't have to send in. You don't have to mail any box tops. Your magic eye is waiting for you right now at your neighborhood grocer's. That's right. There's a magic moving picture eye packed in every box of Kellogg's Pep, free, at no extra cost. Yes, at the same time that you get a better-than-ever tasting cereal that helps you to have good bones and strong muscle, you get a swell prize, too. Start your magic moving picture eye collection now.
That's right. Get your magic eye. Ask Mom to buy Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P. Pep.
Finding Captain Parker in the wreckage of his rocket scout on the surface of Jupiter, Tom, Roger, and Captain Strong tried desperately to carry the unconscious man back to their rocket cruiser, the Polaris. But they have to fight the overwhelming gravity force on the planet. Gravity that adds almost 300 pounds to their weight, making each step a tremendous effort. Then suddenly, halfway back to the Polaris, the surrounding mountains seem to explode, and the ground heaves and shakes beneath their feet.
Hang on, boys. Try not to fall down. This planet's gone crazy.
How long will this last, Captain Strong?
There's no way of telling. Maybe seconds. Maybe hours.
Seconds? I can't take much more of this.
Well, you've got to, Manning.
Hey, look! The ground is opening up! We're dead dots! Run for it!
No, wait!
Jumping jets! That chasm opened up right behind us. 2 feet closer and we would have dropped through.
Listen, boys. Those explosions, they're dying down.
Guess the worst of it is over, sir.
Yeah, temporarily. They'll start again. So let's get moving while we still have the chance. The next earthquake may wreck the Polaris.
By the rings of Saturn, I never thought you fellas would make it.
What's the matter? Think we're a bunch of sissies?
Hey, what's the matter with you, Roger?
You're talking like you had a mouthful of hot potatoes.
My face, it's just cold, that's all. I haven't thawed out yet.
Well, at last we found something to keep him quiet.
All right, boys. All right. Bend your stations. Those mountain tops are starting to flare again.
Gangway, I've had enough of that routine.
Rocket motors are warmed up and ready, sir.
Right. Make this fast, Astro.
You bet, sir.
Strap in, Tom.
Yes, sir. But what about Captain Parker?
Oh, he's pretty sick. I think he'll pull through. He's asleep now, down in my cabin. All right, now, stand by for blast-off.
Attention, crew. Stand by for blast-off.
Radar bridge Manning ready. Nordic, Astro ready.
Energize the cooling pumps.
Pumps in operation, sir.
Feed reactant. Make it D13 to counteract the gravity.
Reactant feeding at D13 rate, sir.
Switch in takeoff gyros.
Gyros on, sir. Honestly, Skipper, I never thought we'd ever get off Jupiter alive.
Huh? I had some very strong doubts myself. 5 seconds to blast off. 4.
Goodbye, Jupiter.
3.
If I ever see you again, it'll be through a telescope.
0. Rocket away!
Action-packed adventure with Tom Corbett and the Space Cadets on Tuesday, when danger and death strike from the void in the mystery of the Space Station of Danger. Tune in, same time, same station, for the next thrilling interplanetary adventure with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. Brought to you by Kellogg's Pep, the build-up wheat cereal. Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, starring Frankie Thomas, can also be seen on television and appears in the comic sections of many of America's leading newspapers. Look for it daily and in weekend editions. Featured in the cast are Al Markham as Astro, Jan Merlin as Roger Manning, and Edward Bryce as Captain Strong. Today's program was written by Jack Weinstock and Willie Gilbert, directed by Drex Hines. Jackson Beck speaking.
Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret. Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret.
And what a secret! In Kellogg's Raisin Bran, the tasty raisins are dipped in honeycomb. That means plumper, more tender raisins, along with delicious golden crisp bran flakes, both fruit and cereal, all in one box. And no other raisin brand but Kellogg's gives you the tender goodness of raisins dipped in honeycomb. That's Kellogg's secret. So for your breakfast, make sure you get Kellogg's, because
Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure. Escape, brought to you by your Richfield gasoline dealer and the Richfield Oil Corporation of New York. Marketers of Richfield gasolines with Xylene, Rich Lube, all-weather motor oil, and other famous petroleum products. Look for the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pumps.
Tonight, we escape to the jungles of South America and a seething tale of terror and violence as told by James Poe in Bloodbath, starring Mr. Vincent Price.
By portaging the rapids and walking the mules in the shallower stretches, we'd managed to get our supplies and equipment more than 1,700 miles up the river. After this, further navigable passage being impossible, we'd traveled by foot, hacking our way through the thick, steaming jungle, coaxing and goading the heavily laden beasts. We'd left the jungle and begun the climb. 11 days later, high in the Andes, we found our objective. We set to work, hard work. And then, on a hazy afternoon in late May, we found it. I shall never forget the scene. Below us, the mountains swung down to the jungle which stretched eastward, far as the eye could see. The peaks above us had cut off the setting sun, and the light had a curious violet quality. The dank, chill wind, whispering and gusting, set the sparse timber scrubs to trembling and shuddering, and the mules, disdainful of their 5 strange masters, foraged the cacti and dwarf pine. The instruments were set up and the specimens were at hand, and now, crouched and tense, we leaned forward.
How about it, Hess?
Wait. The tube's got to warm up. Come on, come on.
Wait, will you?
I've waited 5 years for this moment.
500, you mean? 5 million? Come on, Hessie. How about it, Hess?
Mm-hmm. Okay, give him the sample, O'Brien.
Yeah, here. Come on, baby. Shut up, will you?
Here goes.
Switch on.
Holy cow, good. Good. It's fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah? Come on, Hessie, what's the word?
Yeah, Hessie, give.
Gentlemen.
Unless this machine is busted, unless this Geiger counter has forgotten its multiplication table, we have discovered the richest lode of uranium ore known to man. I won't go into the details of how we'd come to locate the ore, because that's a story in itself. Suffice it to say that late in the afternoon of that hazy May day, the 5 of us, gamblers all, came to the end of our rainbow, found our pot of gold.
The vein runs all the way up the side of the mountain.
Must be worth $1 million. $1 million, $1 billion, $1 trillion. Do you boys realize what we've got here?
Sure we do.
We've got the world at our feet. Why, the man who gets the strike registered in his name can be a king. Every country in the world is going to come running up to him with trunks full of money and power.
You tell him, Hesse.
Power?
Yeah, we'll make the United States the most powerful nation on earth.
Why the United States?
Oh, you wouldn't sell to anybody else, would you?
I'm a businessman, Harris.
You're a fool.
No. I'm a businessman. $1 trillion. Oh, gents, we've got the world at our feet. Split 5 ways.
The world at our feet, split 5 ways. That night, as I lay huddled under my thin blanket, I wondered what it would be like, being a wealthy man. Wondered if it were really true. Wondered how it would affect the others, how it would affect me. In the morning, we were to set off on the long return journey down to the jungle and through the jungle to the launch and down the river to civilization. There we'd register our claim, purchase, if need be, the land, lease it perhaps from the government. Oh, millionaires. World at our feet. Uranium. Enough to blow up the whole universe. Power.
Harris, wake up.
Wake up,
Harris, wake up.
Oh, good morning, millionaire.
Please, wake up.
The sun's coming up. Hey, where are the others?
They're gone.
Gone?
Yes, Dumont and O'Brien. They took the mules and most of the food and cut out. When? How do I know when? Sometime during the night.
But why?
Why? $1 trillion, that's why.
Oh, no.
Once they get down to the jungle, they'll have to travel on foot. There's 10 days' march to the river. If they beat us to the boat, we're stuck with 1,500 miles of jungle between us and safety.
50? Impossible. We'd never make 100.
That's right. We've got to catch them, or we're dead.
We traveled as lightly as possible. It was a risky business, doubly so because O'Brien and Dumont had taken our guns with them. The only weapons we had between us were 1 long machete and 2 pocket knives. These would be of little protection against jaguars, bushmasters, tapirs, boa constrictors, and the rest of it. Fortunately, they'd left our number 1 necessity to survival. They'd forgotten to take our quinine. This and our food was all we carried. The long descent to the jungle was slow going on foot. It was here that we nearly gave up hope. We moved as fast as we could, but we were no match for men who were riding. But we reached the jungle. Then things took a better turn. Here, the thick vines and heavy undergrowth was, we knew, almost an impossible hazard for a riding man. And we could see their boot prints mingled with those of the mules. We knew that they were having trouble, too. The animals were afraid of many things in the jungle, would balk, suddenly require careful handling. We pushed ahead as rapidly as possible, battling mosquitoes, fume flies, matukas, and the blood-sucking carpato ticks, and, of course, the jungle itself with its never-ending barrage of razor grasses, needle vines, swamps, bog traps, and so forth. It was hot, stinking hot, and the going was hard, but we had to make it. We couldn't travel at night. They'd taken our flashlight. We'd bundle up as best we could, protecting ourselves not from the cold. It was hot and muggy even at dawn, but from the mosquitoes. And as we progressed towards the river area, from the bats. Vampire bats. Ever seen them? They're small, rather fragile-looking little things. By day they hang, heads down from the trees, wings folded like clusters of rotten fruit. By night, they hunt. They have razor-sharp teeth, bite like the finest steel scalpels. Their object is to break the skin very delicately, start the blood to coming, and then they simply hang on and sip. Without mosquito netting, we had a rough time of it, a sleepless time. But we managed to keep on going. And on the third day...
No use, fellas. We can't make it to the river before them.
But that's too easy. We've got to make it right, Wayne.
And even if we do catch up, they got the gun. Huh? What are you something? Quiet. I heard something. What did you hear? Gunfire. Yeah. Come on. They can't be more than a mile or two ahead. Come on.
We ran through the jungle, following the fresh marks of the animals and the two men. And a half an hour or so later, we broke into a little clearing, and there was two marks.
Is that shot in the back? Good old sweet guy, that old...
Here, come on. Let's turn him over.
Really been sweating, huh?
Yeah, it's malaria. You see his face?
Good old Obie.
And Dumont came down with malaria, probably started to slow him down.
Sweet guy, that Obie.
Come on, let's go. Hey, they should have remembered the quinine.
I got no sympathy for Dumont. You know what'd be nice? What? If that Obie should get malaria now.
Yeah.
He'd be helpless. He'd ask me for quinine. And I'd throw him a stone.
On we went. Now there were no boot marks with the mule tracks. Apparently O'Brien was riding one of the animals. From time to time we'd see a flurry of tracks turned up as though he had to dismount to tug one of the beasts back onto the trail. We followed the tracks for another 2 days, and then on the 6th day, we found one of the mules.
How you feeling, boy? Huh? Where's your saddle? He really looks beat. Look at those marks on his flanks.
Vampire bat. Yeah. That leaves O'Brien on foot.
Yeah. Hey, you hear that? Hey, it's the launch. We're to the river. He's starting the motor. Come on.
It wasn't very far, just a few hundred yards, and the path was strewn with O'Brien's discarded supplies. Quite suddenly, we came out of the jungle and onto a narrow white sandbar. The river. And there, not 30 feet away from us, just drifting off into the deep, dark, fast-moving waters, was O'Brien in the launch. O'Brien! Look at him. He's like a skeleton. The launch lurched dizzily as it floated downstream. O'Brien was feeble, sweating, possessed. He had the fever, had it bad.
Come on, let's go after him.
You can't. This is piranha water.
Cannibal fish. They'll eat you, happy.
Yeah.
Hey, Obie! Hey, you know me, Obie! Your old pal, Hesby! Hey, what do you say, Obie, huh? Bring him,
He
pal!
staggered dizzily about the cockpit trying to start the engine. He was laughing, and he was so weak that he could barely spin the flywheel to the kicker.
Obie! He's back! Good Lord, he's in the water!
The fish, the piranhas!
They got him!
I ain't gonna look at this. One moment we saw him swimming weakly, his large, fever-ridden eyes turned imploringly toward us, and the next moment he was gone, leaving only a large red churning patch on the water. The piranhas are small, rarely more than 12 or 14 inches long, small fish with large, powerful jaws, teeth like broken glass, and an insatiable, maniacal appetite for flesh. The launch, caught by the deep, fast-moving waters, rocked softly this way and that and moved on downstream. Away. Away around a bend and out of sight.
The march of science over the years has produced better than ever gasoline for your car. But now science adds one of the greatest gasoline components of all. It's called xylene. Xylene, a super gasoline component, adds two great qualities to gasoline. Xylene gives higher than ever anti-knock performance. Xylene means power. Today, every gallon of Richfield gasoline contains xylene. If you want a motor that runs quiet as a whisper, if you want pickup and power to spare, try Richfield gasoline with xylene. Your Richfield dealer offers a choice of two great Richfield gasolines with xylene. Richfield High Octane at regular price for the average motor. Or Richfield Ethyl. Ethyl at its best for tip-top results in the highest compression motors. Drive in where you see the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pumps. Get Richfield gasoline with xylene. Xylene, one of the highest anti-knock components in gasoline history. And now we return you to Escape, starring Vincent Price.
We picked over the supplies O'Brien had left on the shore. There wasn't much we wanted. A gun without ammunition, a few tins of food, a tent and some bedding, cooking equipment, a coil of rope. We loaded these things onto the mule and set off through the jungle, downstream along the river's course. 1,500 miles to civilization. We had it tough. The jungle was thick along the river's bank, and we made little progress. Not more than 5 miles that day, but the next day, we rounded a bend, keeping close to the shore, and there, about a quarter mile below us, and nuzzling the opposite shore, grounded on the sand, lay the launch.
Looks shallow enough here.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, but what about the fish?
How deep does it look to you, Harris? It's the deepest spot, I mean.
Oh, I don't know, maybe 2.5 feet, maybe 3.
Most of it's less than that. I got an idea.
Shoot.
We got to get across the launch, see? So here's what we do. We throw away everything. There'll be food and water on the launch, see?
Yeah.
Now, you see that little patch of sand in the middle of the river where the bar shows?
Yeah.
We go that way. That's bound to be the shallowest way, see?
How do we go?
On the mule, the three of us.
Ah, you're nuts.
This mule ain't in such bad condition it can't get the three of us across 70 feet of shallow water.
What do you say, Harris? Why not?
All right. I'll get aboard first. Come on. Get farther up, Wingsy. You're the lightest.
Yeah.
Harris, you get on next. Hang on to Wingsy. Here. Carry this coil of rope around your neck. We may need it. I've got the machete strapped to my back.
You set, Weems?
Yeah.
Now hold tight to me, Harris.
Don't worry. If I go, you go too.
Yeah.
And if he goes, I go. So let's hang on, gents. Yeah. Let's really hang on. As long as he's moving fast, he can't get at his legs. Ain't that right? He's not showing anything to him but hooks and hair.
Hold his head up, Weems. Don't let him look down.
You all set?
Yeah, all set.
All right, here we go. Get off. Come on. Come on, baby.
I felt the mule lurch when he stepped into the water. The sand was softer here than on the shore.
Sand, huh?
Ahead, not 40 feet away, lay the little spit of land. The mule refused to run, couldn't run, and before he'd taken 10 steps, I knew he was too weak to support the three of us. From every direction in the swirling water about us came small, shadowy, dark shapes.
Come on.
The piranha.
Don't stop. Come on, baby. Keep moving, baby. Come on. Move along, baby.
He can't do it.
You gotta do it, baby. Come on. What are those?
The piranhas were churning the water about us, and coming in from beyond them were 4 or 5 long, dark shapes, 6 and 7 feet long, thick and wriggling electric eels.
They'll sting them. Get along. To the back.
Get into the sandbar.
Faster. Come on.
Made it.
It's true about electric eels. I can throw a jolt that'll kill a jaguar. Make a jaws like a vice. So, here we are, gentlemen, stuck. Just 30 feet of water between us and the shore. Get across it, and we can get to the launch and the civilization and all the rest.
Oh, the three of us are too much for that mule.
Only 30 feet. Why, you could run it in seconds.
You see those little shadows around us in the water?
I see those little shadows around us. You don't have to draw pictures. Hey, here's another bright idea coming up.
As a matter of fact, yeah.
Yeah, hold on to your hat, Harris. We got that curl of rope.
Yes.
The mule could carry one of us. That mule's not in such bad shape, you know.
Yes.
Tie the rope over his bridle. Then one of us pulls him over with him fast. You see, one rides, and then the other two pull him back.
Yeah?
And the next one gets on.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Oh, he can't stay here.
It's a natural.
Who goes first?
Me, on account I'm the lightest. I won't tire him so much.
How about it, Harris? All right.
Well, get going then. Okay. Tie that rope to his bridle.
I'm doing it.
All right, give me the machete. What do you want the machete for? I want it, that's all. Give me. Okay. All right, now you two get at the end of the spit. Because when you pay out the line, you don't get it caught in his legs. Well, you think of everything. That's right. I'm a smart boy.
Ready with the line.
You sure it's tied fast to the bridle?
Yeah, I'm sure.
No funny business, Weems. All we got to do is jerk this rope once while you're over that water and you're done for. You're a sharp article. That's right, but not sharp enough. Hey, Weems, you cut the rope. Come on, suckers!
The rope, our only salvation, was cut. And now Weems, grinning and riding, was out into the stream, heading for the shore and safe. He went not 15 feet when one of the long, dark, wriggling shapes made for the mule and got his leg.
Hey,
The mule reared up on his hind legs, the eel clinging to his foot, pumping paralyzing shots into him. Weems clutched his neck with one hand and slapped him on the flank with the flat of the machete with the other. The mule came down, and more eels went for his legs. He began to lurch sideways. Weems swung the long steel blade in an arc, barely missing the mule's leg, and connected with one of the eels. His hair seemed to stand on end. His other arm released the mule's neck. The arm holding the blade was extended stiffly, still caught in the thick, muscular back of the electric eel. And then the mule reared again, and Weems fell back into the water. The mule, freed of Weems, made the shore and vanished into the jungle. We turned away. No man could watch what was happening to Weems and retain his sanity. And so, there we were, Hess and I, on that sand spit which the river was slowly washing away. Night coming, the vampire bats coming, and all about us, the electric eels and the little cannibal fish waiting. There was no moon. There were evil stars, red and yellow. There was a black sky, and against it, blacker shapes, the vampire bats. We waved our arms and kept them off, but again and again during that long and terrible night, they brushed against us, squealing and squeaking, trying to get us. Dark, evil, thirsting bats. 1,000 years later came the dawn.
That water's taken a lot of sand away. This thing isn't much bigger than a card table. Look at them. Look at those fish. You'd think they had enough to eat yesterday. Listen, Harris. No matter what happens now, at least you and I have played it square, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Shake my hand, Harris.
All right.
Because I think I got an idea on how we can get out of here.
What?
Yeah. Look up there. Yeah. See that vine hanging down from the big tree?
It's over the water, and it must be 15 feet up.
Yeah, but if you were on it, you could do a Tarzan to the shore.
The rope?
That's right. Now, if we can just lasso the end of that and pull tight, we'll have enough swing to make it across. Swing like a pendulum, if you follow me. One guy gets on the other shoulders to swing over to get the start, see? Then when he gets to shore, he fastens a rock and swings the rope back to the other.
That vine will hold. It'll work. It took us 2 hours before we managed to lasso the end of that vine. And then we tested it again and again until we were positive it would hold a man's weight. And then we were ready.
Stand good and steady now, pal. I'm going to go easy on you, but don't shake. Just you throw me in that water, I'm a gone guy.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Good luck.
Here.
I felt his feet leave my shoulders, and then he was off, skimming the water with his feet drawn up, and then, miraculously, he was on the shore. Good boy! Good boy!
Yeah!
Like a breeze, huh?
Like a breeze.
Hey, any rocks around there?
Sorry.
He smiled at me and shrugged, and then looked down the stream at the launch. I knew that smile, that $1 trillion smile. It said, "So long, sucker." Don't do it, Hess. Send me the rope.
You're too nice a guy, Harris. You and I would never get along.
You can have it all, Hess. Every scrap of it. Only for the love of mercy, send me the rope.
No, you want some. You wouldn't approve of what I mean to do with it.
Hess! He stood there laughing at me and shaking his head slowly. But above him, just over his head, was another vine, thick and mottled, and it was moving. Look out, Hess! Hess! He didn't understand or didn't hear me. Just stood there smiling and shaking his head. The boa constrictor dropped heavily and accurately, a thrashing tangle of scaly musk. The sun was hot, blistering hot. I was alone, all alone, except for the ever-waiting piranhas. Hess's body was hidden by the low, scrubby vines and palmettos. Several hours later, I saw the boa, now gorged, slither lumpily away. I waited, and I waited. From time to time, I thought of stepping out into the stream. It would be over very quickly, I told myself, very quickly. I couldn't. And then I noticed an odd thing. The current which had been sweeping the sand away had shifted slightly. A whim, a miracle. And now new sand from some sunken bar was beginning to pile up between me and the shore, grain by grain, rib by rib. I watched it. And I watched. And I watched. And at 5 o'clock that afternoon, I walked ashore to the lodge. And didn't even get my feet wet. It's nice where I live. Quiet little streets, nice people, nice kids, nice country. Peaceful. Nice peace. I know where there's enough uranium to blow it all to hell. Want it? Just go up the river. Up the river, it's for the taking. Ask Dumont and Obie and Weems and Hess. $1 trillion worth. Enough to give the whole world a bloodbath. Yourself included.
Warm summer weather makes you think of baseball games, picnics, and holiday driving. But be sure your car's ready when you are. Get Richfield All-Point Safety Service, the service that puts your car in top shape for warm weather driving. With Richfield All-Point Safety Service, you get a careful all-point lubrication job that protects the chassis, transmission, and differential. You get lubricants that stick to your car's ribs no matter what the temperature. You get the protection of Rich Lube, all-weather motor oil, the Pennsylvania premium-grade oil that cleans as it lubricates. You also get a safety check of batteries, spark plugs, tires, and radiator, and expert service if your car has automatic transmission. The Richfield gasoline dealer is specially trained to protect your car against wear and breakdown. So get Richfield All-Point Safety Service tomorrow. Look for the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pumps. Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson. And tonight starred Mr. Vincent Price. Bloodbath was written by James Poe. Others in the cast were Wally Mayer, Ted DeCorsia, Paul Frees, and Tony Barrett. Special music arranged and played by Ivan Ditmars. Next week.
You are groping your way slowly through the dark hold of a ship at sea, moving carefully, step by step, dreading to find what you know is there. Death in the form of a deadly bushmaster from which there is no escape.
Next week at this time, the Richfield Oil Corporation of New York invites you to escape to the Caribbean and a grim voyage of impending death, as Martin Storm tells it in his exciting tale, A Shipment of Mute Fate. Goodbye, then, until this same time next week, when once again we offer you Escape. Tom Hanlon speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Wheat Checks, Rice Checks, and Good Hot Ralston present Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol!
In today's transcribed adventure, two criminals are holding Tonga in the subcellar of a Venus skyscraper. As Buzz and Happy advance toward the men, they pass a large ventilating tunnel covered with a metal screen. One of the men throws a switch, and behind the screen, the blades of a giant fan start to whirl.
They've turned the ventilator fan on. Rush them, Happy.
Yes, sir. I can't stay on my feet.
Keep away from the grating.
I can't move. The air suction pulled me against the grating.
It's got me, too. Try to pull loose, Happy.
The wind's too strong. Commander, the grating is sliding up.
Pull, Happy. Pull hard. If you don't get out of this tunnel, we'll be pulled into the fan.
We'll be back in just a moment with today's Space Patrol story, The Top Secret D-Ray. Boy, oh boy, gang, here's something I'll bet you just never dreamed you could own. I mean a pair of those amazing new Space Patrol space binoculars. A pair just like the commander uses himself. Now, you know how he can look way off in the distance with his space binoculars? Well, kids, you can do the same with yours. You can read signs blocks and blocks away, watch far-off traffic, study birds in high trees, and do lots and lots of other things with your space binoculars all year long. Now, these are not flimsy goggles or a mask. These are great big plastic space binoculars that stand out from your eyes a full 3.5 inches. Why, you don't even have to use your hands when you're looking through space binoculars. They have a strong elastic band that holds them snugly to your eyes. It's swell for playing Space Patrol because then your hands are free to drive your rocket ship or to hold your cosmic smoke gun. Now remember, these are real fixed-focus 4-power binoculars with 4 pure lucite lenses. Real binoculars 5 inches long, 5 inches wide. The greatest offer we've ever made on Space Patrol. But, gang, the offer soon ends, so don't miss out. Send for your space binoculars today. Just buy a box of Instant Ralston. Then, with your name and address, send 25 cents in coin and an Instant Ralston box top to Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. If you don't agree that your binoculars are tops, send them back and we'll return your money. That's Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. Commander Corey and Cadet Happy have just blasted off from Terra and have set their vector for the lunar fleet base on the Earth's moon. One of the busiest spaceports in the solar system, the fleet base is also the center of scientific research into the development of space flight. For the past week, it's been open house at the base, with guided tours for throngs of visitors from Earth and many of the other planets. Tonga has been assigned to special duty at the base to see that security regulations are observed. Buzz and Happy plan to spend 2 days at this moon spaceport and then bring Tonga back to Terra.
Mind if I tell you something, sir?
What, Happy?
Well, I didn't say anything one way or the other, but, well, I'm certainly glad I wasn't assigned to duty at the fleet base this week.
Somehow I get the impression that you don't exactly care for the idea of herding tourists around.
Oh, it might have been fun for a couple of days, but, gee, a whole week. Why, I'd rather fly through the meteor belt in a bird cage.
I know what you mean. Just the same, Visitors Week at the Lunar Base has been fine for public relations. You'd be surprised at the number of people who are on the moon this week who've never made a space flight before.
Tonga, Lunar Fleet Base, calling Commander Corey aboard Terra 5. Tonga, calling Commander Corey aboard Terra 5.
Corey here. Go ahead, Tonga.
Commander, I have an emergency message. I'm cutting to Scrambler Circuit, code 5.
All right, Tonga. I'll adjust the receiver. Code 5 circuit cut in. Go ahead.
There has been a security leak on the D-Ray project here at the base.
The D-Ray project?
Yes, Commander. A strip of microfilm containing the basic designs has been taken from the files.
Do you have any idea when the theft occurred?
Within the last 3 days.
Order the base commander to declare condition red and ground all spaceships. The thief may still be on the base.
Condition red is already in effect, Commander. Colonel Jacobson issued the order 20 minutes ago.
Good. That film must not be smuggled off the base. Tonga, cut on your tape recorder and take this message. Feed it through the public address system at the spaceport every 10 minutes.
Ready, Commander.
Here's the message. Attention, everyone, base personnel and visitors. No film of any kind is to be taken from the base until checked by security officers. Film that is cleared will be sealed and returned to passengers after they're permitted to board their ships. Film not surrendered to security officers will be automatically blanked out by cancel ray machines as passengers and luggage pass through the gates. To preserve your personal films,
Follow these regulations. End of message.
I have it recorded, Commander. It will be put on the base PA system immediately.
We don't want to keep innocent people on the base longer than necessary, so run the films through inspection as rapidly as full security methods permit.
Yes, Commander.
Happy and I will arrive at Lunar Fleet Base in approximately 3 hours. We'll contact you upon arrival. Corey out.
Commander, what is this D-Ray project?
The D-Ray is a new defense ray. It can make any unfriendly spaceship completely powerless, even at great distances. It neutralizes all electrical fields.
Yeah, it would cut off all controls so you couldn't maneuver the ship or fire weapons.
You couldn't even use the spacerphone or viewscope.
And those are the plans that have been stolen?
Yes, and that means that somebody could build a D-Ray to use against space patrol ships, if they got away. That's why we have to get that microfilm back.
Smoking rockets.
I want to spaceophone Major Robertson and have him transmit the pictures and records of everyone suspected of espionage to the Lunar Fleet Base. Take over the controls, Happy.
Yes, sir.
And keep it on vector.
Yes, sir.
Your film has been cleared, sir. It will be returned to you aboard your ship as soon as transportation is available. Next. Your name, please.
Bob Morgan.
You have some film to declare?
Yes, ma'am. It's in this can. It's a home movie of my family and some friends. Only a couple of shots of the fleet base. The guide said it was okay to take them.
I'll have to run them off, Mr. Morgan. If you'll step into the projection room with me.
Sure. You'll probably find them pretty dull. I'm not much good at taking pictures. Now, this is about the last of the shots I made on Venus. That's my wife and our youngest daughter, Susie.
Oh, what a cute little girl.
Thank you.
Oh? Is this what you filmed here in the base?
Yeah.
Oh. Yes, that's rocket chute number 1.
I got a ship blasting off, but I didn't have the camera aim right.
Well, that's the end of the reel.
I guess you're glad that's over. Unless you know the people involved, home movies are pretty dull usually.
Well, I'm sure you and your family will enjoy these when you get back to, Mars, isn't it, Mr. Morgan?
Yeah. Films are all right, then?
Oh, perfectly. I'll give you a clearance check, and they'll be returned to you aboard the Mars Express.
Well, thanks, miss. Hope you find what you're looking for.
Ladies and gentlemen, please. We're checking your films as rapidly as we can. Just wait your turn and be patient, please. Now, who's next?
Is the crowd giving you much trouble, Tonga?
Oh, Commander. No, I haven't had any trouble, but the people have had their holiday and they're impatient to get home.
The thief or thieves must have planned to take the microfilms when we had thousands of visitors on our hands. Can we go somewhere where we can talk?
Well, we can use the room next to the projection room.
Fine. Let's go. Happy will be with us in a few minutes. I have him waiting for some pictures and data Robbie's sending us by viewscope facsimile.
Oh, in here, Commander.
Any trace of microfilm, Tonga?
No. The only microfilm any of the security officers have found is of a regular business record nature.
Any indication of blow-ups of microfilm to regular amateur size?
None.
Wow, what a mob. I thought I'd never get through. Cadet, how much longer do I have to wait? Cadet, why is the Space Patrol interested in pictures of my daughter's wedding?
It's understandable, Happy. Got the pictures?
Oh, yes, sir, quite a batch of them. And background data as well.
Look through these, Tonga. See if you can recognize any of these people as having been here at the fleet base.
All right, Commander.
Anything on the D-Ray films, Commander?
Not yet, Happy.
Commander, this man looks familiar. I think I've seen him here.
Which one?
This one. He had some amateur movies of his family. A reel he'd taken on Venus. Morgan is his name. Bob Morgan.
Very interesting. According to the record, Morgan was picked up on Mars last week. He was suspected of violating security regulations there and released for lack of evidence.
Well, there was nothing wrong with his films. Just his wife and daughter Susie and, well, a couple of harmless shots of the base.
Yes, but look at this. Morgan was also questioned on Venus with a certain Art Robertson, also released for lack of evidence. Say, Morgan doesn't have any children. In fact, he isn't married.
What? Now, why would a man lie about a perfectly harmless amateur film?
Tonga, have you got someone who can take over your duties here?
Captain Thornton has been working with me.
He will assume your duties. You're to blast off for Venus City and try to get a line on Morgan's friend, Art Robertson. Happy and I'll head from Mars to check on Mr. Morgan. As soon as you have any information, relay it to me through Space Patrol Unit Headquarters on Mars.
Can't you speed up that projector, Morgan? I'm tired of looking at these phony home movies.
You're tired of them. I've seen this film a dozen times while I was editing and doctoring it at the fleet base, and I had to look at it again at security. Okay, I'll speed it up. Well, the place where I dubbed in the documents is coming up shortly.
You must have done a good job with the assistant security chief, Fassett.
It's lucky I took all that trouble out. Even though we thought we could get off the fleet base before anyone discovered the D-Ray plans were gone, it didn't work out that way.
Now, what happened?
Some eager beaver engineer started his shift 3 hours early. Now, we're getting close. Watch this, There. I've stopped the film on the frame of the little girl.
I don't see anything unusual.
No, neither did security. Watch now. I'll switch to the microfilm lens on the projector.
All I see is a plain white space with a blue border.
That's a blow-up of one of the white checks on the girl's skirt. The blue border is made by the adjoining blue squares.
You mean one tiny square fills the whole screen? I still don't see anything.
You will, when I cut off the regular lamp and turn on the infrared.
Jump on Jupiter, the D-Ray plans.
Right. That's page 1. The next 20 frames, there are other pages concealed in squares of the girl's skirt.
Great job, Morgan. Terrific.
Yeah, nearly went nuts. First I had to project the original microfilm, photograph it in infrared on another microfilm. Then came the tough part. I had to superimpose the plans on the regular-sized film inside one of those tiny squares.
You did a great job, Art, and take the D-Ray strip to Venus.
Now will we collect?
Yeah. But it'll take me a couple of days to establish contact with the man who pays off. Naturally, he's...
4 minutes out of Lowell City, sir. Take over for the landing, Happy.
Tonga at Venus City, Space Patrol Headquarters, calling Commander Corey aboard Terra 5. Tonga calling Commander Corey.
Corey here, go ahead.
I've been checking on Art Robertson, Commander. Got the word earlier than I thought I would.
Let's have it.
He left here for Lowell City about 5 days ago.
Then there's a good chance he came to Mars to meet Morgan. One of our agents at Lowell City has found Morgan's location. Well, stay in Venus City, Tonga. Find out who Robertson's friends are. See if you can run down any definite contacts or connections between Robertson and Morgan.
Yes, Commander.
Happy and I'll handle things at Lowell City, and Corey out.
Yeah?
Mr. Robert Morgan?
Oh, why, yes.
I'm Commander Corey of the Space Patrol. This is Cadet Happy. We'd like to talk to you.
Sure. Come in, gentlemen.
After you, sir. Mr. Morgan, you brought back some film from the Lunar Fleet Base, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. I have the clearance certificate from your security officer. Like to see it?
We'd like to see the film. We want to examine it again.
Sure. I have it right here on the table.
Thank you. Here, Hap, take care of this.
Yes, sir. Anything wrong, Commander? I mean, with the film?
I hope not. Oh, by the way, is your wife home?
She's visiting her sister in Jupiter City.
I see. And your daughter Sally is with her, I suppose.
Yeah, Sally's with her.
Mr. Morgan, unless I'm mistaken, when our security officer was running the film at the base, you told her your daughter's name was Susie.
Why, we call her Sally as a sort of a nickname.
In our files, Mr. Morgan, you're listed as being single.
Well, I'll tell you. Actually, that film belongs to a friend of mine. I thought I could get it through inspection quicker if I acted as though it were mine. I realize now it was foolish and unnecessary.
We'll give the reel a very thorough examination at the security lab. You'll hear from us then.
Fine, Commander.
Say, that's a pretty fancy projector. I was just noticing that, Happy. An expensive professional model, isn't it?
Yes, hobby of mine.
Yeah, it's got a lot of extra gadgets on it, too. And they seem to be similar to those in the security lab.
Mm-hmm.
A turret with several different lenses, including one for microfilm, and with an infrared attachment.
Hey, we could run it off right here.
Say, Morgan.
Get him, Robertson. It's a space patrol.
Look out, Commander! Commander!
You warned him too late, Cadet.
We got in just in time.
Get the film.
What do we do with Corey and the Cadet?
We got to get him out of here. We'll have to take him to Venus with us. Maybe on the way we'll finish him off without leaving a clue.
We'll be back with Space Patrol in just a moment. But in the meantime, here's a quick 3-act play. Act 1 begins with a boy and his mother in a house in a kitchen in the morning.
Fill her up, Mom. Rice checks.
Now there's a boy who knows what he's talking about. he wants a bowl of delicious rice Chex for breakfast. Rice Chex, the shredded rice super cereal, spun in that modern bite-sized design. Act 2, next morning, same house, same boy. And in the kitchen, he's lifting up that bowl again.
Fill her up, Mom. Wheat Chex.
Yep, today he wants Wheat Chex. Power-packed Wheat Chex. Swell-tasting shredded wheat biscuits in that same modern bite-sized design. Third act, third day. Same kitchen, same boy.
Fill her up, Mom. Instant Ralston.
Yes, sir. Today he wants to warm up his motor. So for him, it's Instant Ralston. The cereal with flavor galore. Good hot Ralston. And so ends our play. And gang, here's the moral. For a super breakfast, eat a super cereal. Rice Chex. Wheat Chex. Good hot Ralston. Bob Morgan has stolen a set of microfilm plans for the secret D-Ray from the Lunar Fleet Base by superimposing them on an innocent-appearing film of regular size. Buzz and Happy, suspicious of Morgan because of discrepancies in his story, found the film containing the defense secret. But before they could examine it, Morgan's accomplice, Art Robertson, arrived, and the two men overpowered the space patrolman in a fight in a darkened room. Right now, with Buzz and Happy locked in a compartment, Morgan and Robertson are in a spaceship approaching Venus.
We aren't going to land in Venus City with Corey and the Cadet aboard, are we?
No, we'll set the ship down at my place on the Turquoise River and get rid of them then. Get the ozone cylinder, hook it up. We'll turn it on just after we land. And leave Corey's compartment unlocked. I'll land the ship.
Commander, they've landed. I wonder where we are.
Listen. They're out in the corridor by the door. Watch your chance. If they open it, we'll jump them.
Yes, sir.
Leave them in there, Morgan. We'll attend to them when we come back.
Okay.
Sounds like they're leaving the ship for something.
Yeah. Did you hear a click just then?
I don't think so, sir.
I think one of them was about to open the door when the other one called him away. Try the handle.
Right, sir. It's unlocked.
Open the door a little. Listen. Hear anything?
I thought I heard the hatch close.
Let's get out of here. Happy. Look out the viewport. There they are.
Yeah. Heading for that little building.
By the looks of the landscape, we must be on Venus. And if I'm not mistaken, there's the Turquoise River.
It sure looks like it. I wonder what they're up to.
They've got our weapons, or we could rush them.
Yeah, well, maybe we could take them by surprise when they come back.
Those D-Ray plans at stake. I don't want to risk failure. We'll blast off in their ship and space a phone to Venus City for help.
It's a great idea, sir. They can't get very far away, even if they do try to escape.
And we can watch them from the air. Come on, let's get to the cockpit.
Boy, this is really a break.
We needed one. I have an idea that Morgan and Robertson are ready to see that we didn't get out of this.
There. All secured for blast-off, sir.
And let's go. There they go.
Yeah, just the way you planned it. How long will it take for that ozone to take effect?
Just a couple of minutes. After a few lungfuls of that contaminated oxygen, they'll get sick and dizzy. Before they can land, they'll black out. And there'll be a terrible tragedy on the Space Patrol records.
Where's your submarine?
It's hidden under the wharf on the river. Come on, let's get down to it. We'll maintain this altitude, Happy, and keep circling over them.
I can see them in the viewscope, sir. They're heading for the river.
Do you see any boat they could escape in? What's the matter, Hap?
Oh, nothing, sir. My eyes blurred for a minute, that's all. No, there's no boat near the wharf.
I'll put that space phone call through now. Commander Corey aboard private cruiser VP784 calling Space Patrol Venus City. Commander Corey aboard private cruiser V... What was that number, Hap?
Well, it's on the panel, sir. Oh, smoking rockets I can hardly see.
Commander Corey calling Space Patrol Venus City.
Commander, the controls.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
feel sick. Something's wrong with the air in this ship. Happy, quickly. See if you can find a couple of spacesuits.
Yes, sir.
Hurry.
The suit's hard to get on. I feel so weak.
I'll help you, Happy. There. Now close the face piece.
Let's hope the oxygen supply works.
Is your suit receiver working, Happy?
Yes, sir. I read you.
Take several deep breaths.
My head's clearing already.
So is mine. I checked the viewscope. Do you see Morgan and Robertson?
No, sir. The last I saw of them, they were headed for the wharf. Do you suppose they're swimming across the river?
Well, keep watching, Happy. I'll check the air analyzer and see what's wrong.
Of course, they might have gone back to the building while we were putting on our suits. Boy, I sure thought I was going out there for a while.
No wonder. The ship's air indicator's in the red. A few more breaths and we'd have been finished.
Hey, there is a boat down there. It's coming out from under the wharf.
It's an odd-looking craft.
Hey, now it's gone. It sank.
Submerged is more accurate.
A miniature sub.
Right. I'm afraid we fell into a trap. They wanted us to blast off in this ship. Happy, check the air system, see what they rigged up. I'll notify Venus River Patrol to take soundings up and down the river for that sub.
Where are we now? Right where we want to be. Pier 7, Venus City dock area. 8 fathoms deep.
Safe to surface here?
Sure. We come up under Pier 7. There's a ladder that leads up through a trapdoor into a tool shed. A few minutes from now, we'll be in the streets of Venus City, ready to sell the D-Ray plans.
Yeah. No one able to trace us.
I'll cut the motors now. We're going to the surface.
We hit Venus City at just the right time. The streets are deserted.
Yeah. Turn left at this corner. We'll walk over to the business section and hail a surface taxi.
No. Sorry, lady.
Why don't you look where you're going?
I beg your pardon, but you came around the corner.
Yeah, I pulled. We're sorry.
Wait, you're Bob Morgan.
We're in a hurry.
Wait, you're under arrest, both of you.
We're bumping into you? Don't be stupid.
She's from the fleet base, a security officer.
That's right. And you have to come with me to headquarters.
That's what you think.
Let go of me.
Put your hand over her mouth so she can't yell.
Okay. Hold still, you.
We can't ever spread the news we're in town. Drag her into the alley.
Leave her there?
No. The new building my company is moving to is a block from here. There won't be anybody there this time of night. I'll guard her while you go get a surface car.
Surface car?
Yeah, so we can haul her to the river. Come on, I'll help you carry her.
Where am I now?
Told you before, you're in the basement of the Marquette Building, 4th Avenue and Venus Boulevard, Venus City. Here's Morgan. Hey, what took you so long?
I had trouble renting a car, but I got one. Come on, let's get her out of here.
Okay, Tonga. Here we go.
All right, Morgan, Robertson.
It's Corey and the cadet.
Let go of Tonga and get your hands up.
Quick, Morgan, down this corridor toward the ventilator intake. Take the girl. Corey won't dare shoot.
Let go.
Come on.
They're getting away, Commander. After them, Happy.
Robertson, it's a dead end.
Go to the far wall. We'll make a stand there. Come on, you.
Commander!
You haven't got a chance.
With the girl here, we can bargain with Corey. All right, press back into this corner, under the switch box.
You might as well give up, you two.
Come and get us.
Come on, Happy.
Are you crazy? Left our ray guns in the sub.
Corey will have to pass in front of that big grating. When he does, I'll throw the switch.
What'll that do?
There's an 8-foot ventilator fan back there. It'll create a vacuum strong enough to pull them right up against the grating.
Commander! Happy, don't come any closer.
Shut up. Morgan, pull the switch.
Push him, Happy.
Yes, sir.
Turn that off.
Commander, I can't move.
Come on and get us, Corey.
Suction.
Now, Corey, I'm going to release the grating.
Happy, if you could slump down, maybe we can crawl away from the vents.
Commander, the grating is sliding up. We'll be pulled back into the fan.
I can still move my arm. I can throw my gun and hit that switch and short it out.
Aim straight, Commander.
Here goes.
Hey, you did it, sir. A bullseye.
Quickly, Happy, rush them.
They hit the switch. Morgan, pick up that ray gun.
No, you don't. Get away from it, Morgan.
All right, Robertson.
Yes.
No more. No more. I've had enough.
How about you, Morgan?
Sorry, Commander, but Mr. Morgan is out.
Are you all right, Tonga?
Yes, Commander. I guess you heard my miniature spaceophone.
Yes, and Robertson's ship. Good thing you had it on. It was lucky Morgan had trouble locating a surface car. All right, Robertson. Where's that film strip?
It's right here in my pocket.
Hand it over. Happy, see if you can revive our fleet-based tourist, Morgan.
Oh, he's not a tourist any longer. Where he's going, he'll be a permanent resident.
We'll be back with an action preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol story in just a moment. Hey, gang, have you sent for your Space Patrol space binoculars yet? Well, you better hurry, because this offer is soon going to end. Now, remember, space binoculars are real binoculars. Big, powerful binoculars you can see way off in the distance with. And when I say they're big, when I say they're powerful, I mean it. Space binoculars are 5 inches long, 5 inches wide. They're 4 power binoculars, and that means they make people, cars, buildings, everything else in the distance look 4 times closer. Now, they're not old-fashioned binoculars that you have to hold in your hand. They're sleek, new, modern plastic binoculars with an elastic band that holds them snugly to your eyes. Just think of the fun. You can spot planes in the sky, watch birds and squirrels in the trees, identify cars blocks away, read signs way off in the distance, and do lots and lots of other things with them day and night all year long. Absolutely the greatest value we've ever offered. But don't forget, this offer soon ends. So hurry. Send for your official Space Patrol space binoculars today. Just buy a box of Instant Ralston. Then, with your name and address, send 25 cents in coin and an Instant Ralston box top to Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. This offer good only in the USA and may be withdrawn at any time. That's Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. And now, an exciting preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol story. Buzz and Happy have conceived an extremely daring and dangerous plan to surprise 2 criminals who are holding Carol captive in the Martian hills. Right now, they're nearing the hideout in a small atmosphere ship.
We're getting close, sir. Fasten your safety belt, Happy. Here's where we would develop power failure intentionally. I'm all set, sir. Hang on. I'm about to make the worst landing of my career.
The ground's coming up awfully fast.
You gotta make this look like a disastrous crash.
Okay, but it's beginning to look too realistic.
Brace yourself. It's beginning to look like a real thing to me, too. We're losing control.
Be sure to be with us next Saturday for the exciting story, Crash Landing, when Wheat Chex, Rice Chex, and Good Hot Ralston again present Space Patrol! Space Patrol, an original Mike Moser production starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Lynn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston and directed by Larry Robertson. Other players were Norman Jolly, Ken Mayer, Nina Vera, and Stephen Robertson. Dick Tufel speaking. Now, don't forget to tune in next Saturday and every Saturday when Wheat Chex, Rice Chex, and Good Hot Ralston again present the new exciting Space Patrol. Be sure to see another exciting Space Patrol story on your local ABC television station. Consult your local paper for time and channel. Space Patrol comes to you transcribed from Hollywood. This is ABC Radio Network.